The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Yes, yes, yes. On a Tuesday. Tapatio Tuesday, and we'll tell you why. I just had some Tapatio on my breakfast burrito, chorizo and bacon. Shout out Lori, 17 and a half years here with Bonneville. Congrats to Lori on her retirement. Had some refreshments before the show. And now I'm ready to rock and roll. Now I'm ready to get spicy, just like that breakfast burrito, because there's a lot of reason to get spicy. We have now entered, as December 15th is just 5 days away, we have entered trade talk time. And this has nothing to do with whether you don't like a player or like a player on the Sacramento Kings or even on other teams. The reality is, in a business, you are always looking to get better. You are always looking to improve. So this is not an indictment on the Sacramento Kings. This is not an indictment on that current roster and who we like on the team, who we don't like on the team. We have to be able to separate the personal from the professional. You got to do that in all walks of life. You have some tough conversations at work, a buddy of yours that you became close with, but he's not pulling his weight. And Q4 is coming. Numbers just don't look right. Q4 is coming, and sales aren't where they should be, because now you got to answer to your boss. So even though I like you, buddy, we got to figure out a way to get better. And if that means I got to move on from you, I hope that we can still be cool. I hope that you'll still come to my daughter's birthday. I hope you still invite me to your son's birthday. But this is business. And I got to put food on the table, and I got to find a way to make this business the best I can. Because if not, if your butt's on the line like it is right now, if we don't figure this thing out, then my butt's on the line. If my butt's on the line next, then my boss's butt is on the line. So it's a domino effect. So as we enter trade talks, a big thing and a big part of work-life balance. You know, I love that show Severance on Apple TV. It's coming back next year. Being able to compartmentalize. Hey, I like this player. I think they do great stuff in the community. I think they're a great person from what I've seen. But the reality is we need to be better. Then the question becomes, what if they're starting to become better? What if you have a tough decision to make because you're on a deadline and they're improving, but you know there's somebody else you can get that could just do a better job from Jump Street? How much time do you give that person? How much time do you work with them and see if this is where you can go? This is what we're dealing with the Sacramento Kings. Things are starting to turn around, but how much time should we give them? And what does that look like? This isn't NBA 2K where you can just hit the trade whenever you want. And I don't even know if you can do that. I haven't played. I told y'all I've been moving. I'm looking at some of the games that I have. NHL 2016. That's what I saw. And I believe I have Madden 2022, something like that. So when you're trying to make these moves and how easy it is when you're playing video games or whatever that situation is, it's not the same. We can't sit here and say, okay, we're looking at December. The Kings have won 3 out of their last 4. They've won 2 straight. If they lose on Thursday, all right, now let's get back into trade talks, because these things are already happening. So a lot of it is, I think that fans, as well as I would say media too, we are so reactive when we see, hey, Kevin Huerter had a good game. Does that skyrocket his value? Or Kevin Huerter had a bad game, whatever. Does it plummet it? I would make the argument that guys like that, you kind of know what you have. I don't think if you were to look at these players like stock markets, they're not skyrocketing and plummeting every single day. If you are a guy with a certain ceiling, people know what you are. I don't believe that even with Kevin Huerter's struggles last season, and even with the injury, which it's a pretty typical injury these days, I do not believe that teams, that his value ever plummeted. The same way, I don't think that Kevin Huerter and what he's done off the bench, averaging 14 points and looking a bit better, I don't believe that it has skyrocketed his value. Now, does that mean that his value isn't any better than it maybe looked at the end of last season? No, I'm not saying it doesn't look better. I'm saying that the packages aren't going to change that much. You're still going to need picks involved. You're still going to probably need another player. So I think we react so much to game by game by game, and I don't believe that that's how the basketball world works. Now, Kevin Huerter is one thing. Keegan Murray is another. Because here's a guy who, when you're looking at trade chips, the value can mean just as much as draft picks, things like that. It's not necessarily the salary fill because he ain't even got paid yet. But this is a ceiling type player. So all these trades have kind of sectioned off the type of players that these dudes are. So if you're a GM, you're breaking down, okay, Kevin Huerter, we know what he is and what his value is. Keegan Murray, that's a value that you're going to spend more time having conversations about a Keegan Murray than you are about a Kevin Huerter, because what Kyle thinks of Keegan Murray and what I think of Keegan Murray are probably not as close as what Kyle thinks about Kevin Huerter and what I think about Kevin Huerter and what Kyle thinks about Trey Lyles and what I think of Trey Lyles, unless you're Legend of Winning, aka Legend of Losing. So there is a lot to break down here as far as the Kings are concerned. And we also want to discuss whether or not they're headed in the right direction. Because the other part of it is, hey, look at where they're going. But as they're moving in that direction, could a trade hinder them? So much has happened in 25 games. What are your takeaways, and how should we use those takeaways moving forward? I do have something else to say, and I just got this confirmation from Jay Johnson, who's been doing a great job, and the Sacramento Kings have been wonderful to us these last couple weeks here. Yeah, it's Tuesday, and it's not just any normal Tapatio Tuesday. It's Sacramento Surprise Segment Guest Tuesday, 12:15. Between 12:15 and 12:30, we will have someone, no clue who it is. You know how this thing works. Get your guessing in, whoever you think it may be today. A lot of you guessed right. Last week, it was Isaac Jones. Before that, a couple weeks ago, we had Keon Ellis. We will have a player on today, subject to change. But we will have a player on today between 12:15 and 12:30 from your Sacramento Kings. And you can ask them the questions. Hey, how does it feel now that you guys are moving in the right direction? Whether it could be Malik Monk that we talked to. Malik, how does it feel being a starter? If you're De'Aaron Fox, since he loves the funny Marco questions, maybe I'll ask De'Aaron stuff that has nothing to do with the Sacramento Kings. You know what I've been meaning to ask De'Aaron? Did he ever run a 40? That's what I want to hear from De'Aaron. So it could be De'Aaron Fox, and we have some fun with him, since he wants the media to have some more fun with him. Could be Domantas Sabonis. Could be a lot of these guys, but that's between 12:15 and 12:30. And we can ask them the question, hey, something like this comes out as far as Shams is concerned. How do trade talks get handled in the locker room? If your name is in trade discussions and you know that, and there are articles being written and Michael Scotto's bringing up your name, how does a team handle that? How do you rally together? Do you just separate it? Do you acknowledge it? So we can have some fun today with whoever that guest is. Obviously, those questions are subject to who we have. We're not going to ask certain people that, and we're not going to ask other people other questions. But that's between 12:15 and 12:30. We are going to get a Sacramento Kings guest on for our surprise secret Sacramento segment. And then we're going to get into everything that Shams did have to say on that ESPN article. Still getting used to him on ESPN and not The Athletic, by the way. But Shams talking about the Nets, talking about Every team that's interested in these Nets players. This is the same thing. Just replace the Nets with what the Raptors were a couple seasons ago. With the guys, with OG Anunoby, with Pascal Siakam, with those guys. Just replace the Nets. Just replace Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson with those dudes. And now everybody is interested in them. Apparently, there were conversations, or there have been conversations between the Nets and the Kings, and that's fine. There's also been conversations with the Nets, and it feels like every team that feels like they're one or two pieces away. So I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying I don't know what to do with that. You know, that's like applying for a job. I had conversations with Google. They had conversations with a lot of other people too. But we will break it all down as this thing heats up quickly. Isn't it funny how a week or two can go by and it goes from it's early to now everybody is talking about trades? That doesn't mean something is going to happen. But isn't it funny how that happens? The Kings, that bench issue, could it be solved with a trade? If the Kings do make a trade, who would you want? We're putting the keys in your hands again. You're in charge of the team. Who's your dream trade? Jimmy Butler. His agent has put out teams. Looks like as much as Jimmy wanted to be a Miami Heat for the rest of his career and be similar to Dwayne Wade, even though Dwayne Wade went a couple different places as well, doesn't look like that's going to happen. Chris Biederman going to be joining us at 1 o'clock. We're going to ask Chris what he thinks about everything that's come out. And then we're going to have some fun with the Niners and Brock Purdy, whether or not the Kings the Kings could pay him. I don't know. Brock probably has a good jump shot. Whether the Niners should pay Brock Purdy. Coming up next on the other side, how long should we give the Kings until it's time to look at some trades? Or should we be doing that already? Allen Stiles, Kyle Ledbetter is back behind the glass. We got a good one for you. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Pelicans. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sactown Sports 1140.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
It's your last chance to snag Dell Technologies' lowest prices of the year before the holidays. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. This is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score a free medium 2-topping Domino's pizza with minimum purchase, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on burgers, tacos, wings, and more all season long. Order Uber Eats now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And it's a tough Tuesday, man. And it's tough because, and I've been very open on this show before, we have these conversations. We have to hold these players to a certain standard. At least that's what my job is. And then we get a player on, and you know, obviously you want to talk about the positives. You're not going to sit there and say negative things or try to keep things on the negative end. I do my best to kind of be as real with these players as possible, but these are tough conversations because you're going to do however many hours of trade talks, and then you get a player on, and do you face it head on, or do you sit there and just say, hey, you just talk about the team as it is, and that's not their job, right? Their job isn't to worry about that stuff. Their job is to produce. So it's tough because I'm really big on looking at these guys as humans, very rich humans, but as humans. And when these talks come out, you know it's got to be pretty awkward. I mean, they got families, they go to schools, whatever the case may be, and you get an article, you wake up to an article and your name's in it, and maybe you had no clue. You know, you're just hanging out, doing your thing, and then you find out, oh, okay, I guess I was one of those names. I think a lot of times it's not surprising. When Harrison Barnes ended up in San Antonio, I don't think he was surprised. Okay, it is what it is. Doesn't mean it makes it any easier. Doesn't mean it makes it any easier. But with that being said, and with an article like this coming out, the question becomes, how long should we give these Kings? If you look at where they're at, they can win on Thursday and get back to 500. Let's say they do everything we want them to do, right? And the good thing about the Kings' terrible November and beginning of December was that we kind of felt like we knew what the Kings were. We knew that they weren't going to be good enough, that the Kings were going to have to make some type of move. You move Malik Monk to the starting lineup, and they've lost a couple games, right? What are they, 2-2 with Malik in the starting lineup?
I think 3-2.
3-2 with Malik in the starting lineup. So it's not like they've lit the world on fire from a win-loss perspective. Their numbers have been outstanding. But you look here, and let's say you beat a Pelicans team, you split against the Lakers and Nuggets, so now you're 2-1, or excuse me, now you're 2-2, and you beat the Pacers. You're 3-2, and you beat the Pistons. You're 4-2. You're 4-2, and now that's the day after Christmas, and now you're a game over 500, and you're Monty McNair thinking, this is one of the best stretches we've had of the season. Am I supposed to blow this up, or am I supposed to see how far it can take us? And maybe not blow it up as far as, moving big pieces, but do I want to mess up the momentum with the move? Or can we see ahead and say 4-2 is nice? This trade might allow us to be 5-1 or 6-0. So getting better actually makes things better, but it also makes things tougher.
Yeah, but that's the deal with trades, right? Is that you never know when you're getting better or when you've just made a mistake or what's going to break continuity. That's why trades are sometimes difficult to project, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to affect a team. I guess the other way I would phrase what you just said is, does Monty, if they go on a 4-2 stretch or a 5-1 stretch or whatever, or even a 3-3 stretch where they're sitting at 500 come January 1st, at that point, do you want to make the biggest mid-season trade that you've made since the Sabonis-Halliburton deal?
Right.
Like, they have not made in-season trades each of the last couple of years, and trading for any player who would be a rotational guy, whether they're a sixth man or whether they're a Kyle Kuzma who projects to go into the starting lineup, like any trade they make would be the biggest mid-season acquisition they've made in the last 3 years. So do you want to make that move, or do you want to let this new rotation of 8 or 9 guys have the time to figure it out? And if they, they play above 500 basketball the rest of the way, or, Mike Brown talks about the 5-game stretches. If they keep going 3-2 in each of those 5-game stretches, then do you let them ride it out? Do you think that a trade would do so much improvement that it just has to be done? Right. It's a good question that you bring up.
Ron says, regardless, on the SAC chat, and shout out to the SAC chat as always, 916-339-1140. If you want to be a part of the conversation, call line and text line as well. Ron says, regardless of how they do these next 10 games, the roster imbalance has to be addressed. So he goes on to say, Keegan can't keep playing 40 minutes of defense on the team's best wing. That isn't sustainable. I agree with that. That, to me, and the second part specifically, would say, do you cook up a lesser trade to just get a Matisse Thybulle so Keegan can get a brief respite, right? And get a break so he can hang out and get a breather and focus on his defense more. So that's that type of move where, honestly, I got to see what Matisse is making, but you might not even have to move Kevin Huerter in that situation. You'd have to move somebody. but and you never know. That could be the surprise guess. Who knows?
It's probably Trey Lyles. I'll say that. To get Matisse Thybulle, it's probably Trey Lyles.
I think it would. It's just, again, this is a money thing, right? And as far as what Isaac Jones has done, he was sick. That's why he didn't play last game. But as far as what Isaac Jones has done, have you seen enough in a couple game sample size from Isaac Jones to move off of Trey Lyles? Depending on what you get back, I think it's less about Trey Lyles and more about what this team needs. And if you're getting that shooting off the bench from Kevin Huerter and you still have Keon Ellis when you want him, if you're Mike Brown, then it becomes it's more important to us to get Keegan a rest and keep his legs for more NBA or more offensive explosions and just having him fresh throughout the game and to that point getting him to 40 minutes a game just is crazy than what we think Trey can get us simply because of Trey battling injuries, and every time you come back from injury you have to work your way back from injury, so the timelines are much longer with this stuff.
Well, I also think for Lyles specifically, I think the question is, do you want to bring him back next year? Because he's on a contract year right now. And if you look at it and say, it might only be on a 1-year contract, might be a 1-and-1 situation,
right? But
we do want him back for 2026, then that changes the equation at the trade deadline, because once you've answered that question, if you've answered it yes, then you probably don't trade him. But if you've answered he's going to probably leave in free agency anyways, then you have to ask yourself the question, do you value the last 2 months of having Trey Lyles on the team versus whatever upgrade they can make? Because if it's a Matisse Thybulle, for example, Matisse Thybulle has a player option at the end of the season, so theoretically he could hit free agency as well. So it's a very interesting thing. It's an interesting challenge to put the pieces together, I would say. Although I would be in favor of making the small move like that for a Thybulle, but
yeah,
I understand not doing that now that you have Jay Crowder on the team, because if there's only 12 minutes a game to go around between all those forwards, between Lyles and Crowder and potentially Thybulle, then you're fine with just one of them playing all 12 minutes.
Let's continue the conundrum talk. When the Kings get better, you want to see more, but the value's also up. Let's talk about those players and what could happen. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is Tuesday, getting out the door to a chilly start. Make sure you've got those layers ready to go. Look for some areas of patchy fog. And as we head through the afternoon, we will see mainly sunny skies with light winds. Highs today peaking in the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
It's the year-end event right now at Folsom Lake Kia with huge year-end savings, low finance rates, and zero-down deals with approved credit. Come see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
It's not your average holiday season. Hold on to your hard hats because starting Monday, December 13th, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet is unwrapping the biggest power tool sale Sacramento has ever seen. We're turning up the heat with 12 days of unbeatable prices on all your favorite Makita products and much more. Free batteries with tools, free tools with batteries, and bare tools starting at just $99. Come on down and give us a visit at 6701 Power and Road in Sacramento. Or shop our Christmas deals online at fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Better tools, better prices.
What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Kyle Draper for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. It's that time of year. You know what time of year it is. The Mercedes-Benz Vans year-end sales event is underway. Don't think twice, because it's the perfect opportunity to take your drive to the next level. They're perfect for any business needs. Mercedes-Benz Vans, they offer a wide range of commercial vehicles. Trust me on this. They got Sprinter vans. You could turn it into a worker cargo van, a worker passenger van, or how about just a plain old passenger van? I could do that also. They're fully customizable. And one of the things I love about their Sprinter vans, I'm a big guy, I could fit in them comfortably. So now is the time to head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. They can help you with all your van needs. Ask about customer cash and even special financing options. And business owners, now is the time to take advantage of those year-end tax breaks. So take the short drive down I-5 or go online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them your boy Drape sent you.
Thursday night, Kings and Pelicans. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Kyle Leder behind the glass as we get you everything you need. So much came out in just one article. And this is, look, when ESPN said, Shams, we need you. You talk about, and I don't think it ever came out, Kyle, because stuff like this doesn't typically come out for non-athletes. But you talk about the Juan Soto price tag. I mean, I'm sure ESPN, they threw Shams the bag. I saw something on Stephen A. Is primed to get 120 mil from ESPN. So I don't know what Shams got, but this is why they had to give Shams their money. He comes out with heaters like this, and this is right around that time, and everybody is glued to everything that he is saying, regardless of whether any of it happens or not. But the connections that he's built and everything that he's got going for him, man, it's second to none. It's second to none. And I saw Woj was on, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn on Carmelo Anthony's pod, and he talked about some of the battles that Shams and Woj had throughout the years.
Oh, is Woj finally talking about this?
Yeah, I believe he was. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was always a Cold War thing of that they just wouldn't talk about it. But I guess that Woj at this point doesn't care anymore.
He does not care.
I'm actually interested about that because I was like, for 10 years, that was like the quiet, unspoken thing was that Woj and Shams don't like each other, but they won't both ever acknowledge it.
But I also think that Woj and Shams had a relationship as well.
Oh, yeah. No, Woj is Shams' protege.
Yes.
He is the mentor, and Shams is the protege. They both worked at, I want to say it was Yahoo.
I think it was Yahoo.
And yeah, the reason Shams is able to do this job, also at a crazy young age, like people don't realize Shams is like 29.
Yeah, he's not even
now,
30 yet. Yeah.
And he's been in the game for a decade. He was like a freshman at Loyola Chicago and was going to like NBA draft combines.
Right.
It's like, yeah, his story is crazy. But yeah, like Woj was his mentor and he was the protege. And then when Woj left to do other stuff, that was, I think he went to the Athletic at first. It was like Shams was the person who was doing all the Woj stuff after he left.
Yeah. So with that being said, a lot of names have been kind of tossed around and a lot of teams are interested in those names. But the conundrum with the Kings is, you know, they're starting to play better. They're starting to perform better. So obviously you want that to continue. But on the other hand, do you look at what they're doing and say, hey, they're getting better. They're getting better. It's good enough. Or do you say, hey, we're going to make a move and we think it's going to make them much better than what they are right now? You know, we had a couple people in the last segment talk about the bottom line is the roster still has issues. All right. Regardless of whether or not they go. I mean, now if they go and Aaron brought up whatever they do these next 10 games, that's easy to say. And I'm not saying they're going to do this, but what if they win 10 games straight? What if they go 9-1? What if they go 8-2? I think that's the line. You go 8-2 or better the next 10 games. You're Monty McNair. How do you touch them? I don't know if that will happen, but my point is there is a level of if this team continues to play better. Right now, I mean, if you look at it, they could go 8-2. Do I think they will? We haven't seen them do it, but they go 8-2. These trade talks are heating up. A ton of teams are interested in the same players. The price tag is going to go up. Now you're in a conundrum. Now you're stuck.
Sure, but I don't necessarily think it has to be 8-2 per se. I mean, 8-2, I'm looking at it right now. The Grizzlies have won 8 of their last 10. The Mavericks have won 8 of their last 10, and that's about it. The Celtics have won 8 of their last 10, but other than that, it's like 8 out of 10 means you're like a top 5 team in the league over a stretch of 3 weeks. So I think it could even be they climb back to 500. They're still in the play-in conversation. We'll see what trade ends up materializing. It's never as black and white as what a 5-game stretch or a 10-game stretch is. And also, the same thing could happen in the next 10 games that happened in the, I guess we'll call it the second 10-game stretch of the season, where injuries just completely derailed that stretch of games where they lost 6 of 7 and 7 of 10. So I think context matters a lot in how they either get to 8-10 or 6-4, or whatever else happens in the in-between. But you mentioned what Jerry Reynolds said the other day, and it's like after 20 games, you kind of know. And taking the 8 games with injuries aside, we're getting real close to 20 games with this team, even though they've switched up lineups and rotations and have kind of had to learn to play with each other a little bit with this new roster and new setup.
You know, it's funny, if you count the last 2 games with the Jazz and the Spurs, that 10-game set would literally end their last game of the year. So not that we normally use that as a measuring stick, but they would have the Pelicans, Nuggets, the Lakers twice, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Lakers again, and then the Mavericks. That would be 10. Right now they're 2-0. So they could end the year on a 8-2 run, something like that. I think 8-2 would be the line where it would be really tough if you're Monty McNair to throw a wrench into things. Anything lower, even 7-3, I'm having a conversation.
You're talking about 8-2 from this point forward, or including the last 2 games?
Including the last 2 games.
Okay.
So they're 2-0 now. If I'm Monty McNair, trade talks are heating up. The 15th is going to come where a lot more players are going to be available. The 15th is going to be here before you know it. And there might be deals made before the new year. But let's say things start to get hotter because more people are available. These next couple of weeks, while conversations are happening, the Kings keep winning games. They beat, let's say they play the Mavericks December 30th. That ends an 8-2 or better stretch for the Kings. You're Monty McNair. I can't do anything right now.
Yeah, I feel good personally giving it 15 to 20 games with this group. You know, saying 5 have already passed. Give it 15 to 20 with Malik in the starting lineup, Herter consistently coming off the bench, Isaac Jones reintegrated.
You'll get Trey Lyles back at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Trey Lyles will come back, that group. So, yeah, I think this is the group that they have through January, right? They've added Trey Crowder. They've added Doug McDermott. The trade deadline is the second week of February. So I think this is the group up until about January 15th, probably, or something like that. And I think that's fair. It just stinks that coming into the year, they added DeMar DeRozan. They're learning how to play with each other, and they just kind of lost like 8 to 10 games because of the injuries to kind of work through it and figure it out. And that just stinks in terms of condensing timelines a little bit. But now things are as healthy as you could ask for, and the starting 5 of Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Keegan, and Sabonis feels like it's going to be pretty consistent for the next month, and that'll be a good sample size to start to evaluate just where they kind of stand. It stinks that they have to sort of dig themselves out of a hole right now, although if they go 6-2 over the next 8 games, like you say, by win percentage, that would put them 8th in the Western Conference right now. And if I told you in January the Kings would be 8th in the Western Conference, I think a lot of people would feel a lot better about it than they do right now, just seeing that 12 next to their name.
It also gives Monty McNair a bit of a, I don't want to say cop out, but that's probably the best word to use. If the team gets hot, he could say, well, who am I to mess up what they're doing, right? It's the 7-3s, the 6-4s to where it's, hey man, they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole that's not good enough. But you go 8-2, 9-1, dare I say 10-0. Who's going to blame Monty McNair for not making a move?
Yeah, because I don't think
that hot.
Because there's, especially given that there is no giant move they're going to make, right? The Jimmy Butlers and the Brandon Ingrams of the world, Kings aren't touching those because their core five, or the starting five now, those are the guys who are firmly intact. Like they have no real plans to trade any of those five. It's the players within the margins where you're trying to see if you can make an upgrade and maybe attach a pick or do something like that.
916-339-1140. Let's get to Will. First caller of the day, wants to be a part of the action. You can be a part of the action too with that phone number also on the text line. What's up, Will? What you got for us?
What's up, Styles? See, that's poetic justice, man. I'm number one. I'm the first caller today, man.
That's right.
That's cool.
That's right.
Hey, look, man. Look. If the Kings, stop that talk, that 8-1, 9-2 stuff.
Well, you never know, Will. You never know.
Come on, man. What they've been doing for the last 5 years? They ain't never had a streak like that. But look here. Look here. If I could get Tybalt, Patisse Tybalt, man, for slow-mo, I'm telling you, if the money's right, I'll make that deal because that guy is versatile. He can back up Keegan. He can back up her. He's athletic. He's fast. Man, I would make that deal. I'm sorry.
You mean Trey Lyles?
Yes.
Okay.
I would trade if I could get him and let Trey go. It's a done deal. It's a done deal, man. I love his game, man. I liked him with Philly. I know he's been traded a couple of times, but he's athletic. He can't shoot as good as Herter, but he's kind of remind me of some of those guys with New Orleans, some of those two-way guys.
Yeah.
I would love to have him. If we can get him and the money's right, it fits with Lyles' contract and with his, I'll jump on that.
Thanks for the call, Will. Yeah, and Kyle, to be completely honest with you, Matisse Thybulle, he hasn't been playing for the Blazers.
Not that much.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's been injured or just not playing.
Yeah, I think it's been injury related, but they also, I don't think he's played at all yet this season.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen him. The Kings have played him at least twice, and he hasn't even been on the bench. So
it's listed as ankle sprain for him, but yeah, I don't know if he's played even a game yet this year, but No, he hasn't played at all yet.
And that's a question right now. Trey has been injured too, but do you want to move off somebody like that for a guy who also isn't playing?
Okay, so here's the answer. So he had a previous injury before, and then he was ramping up to play, and then he got an ankle sprain. So he's expected to be back next week or the week after, but he hasn't played yet because he had an injury in training camp. He was getting back to playing. He then sprained his ankle. He's been out with a subsequent injury. And then, he should be back before Christmas.
There you go. 916. Matt says Magic 8 Ball says that the surprise king will be Dougie McBuckets. Love the show. That's from Banny B. Appreciate you, Banny B. Yeah, I think we're going to get some more Dougie McBuckets action throughout the season, but I'm not really sure if anything is going to eclipse what we saw and when that is going to happen. Let us not forget, between 12:15 and 12:30, our secret surprise Sacramento guest we will have. I haven't seen any guesses come in yet. It's been Keon Ellis and then Isaac Jones. There's really been a theme, somebody who's kind of balled out now. It's been a couple days, I guess. Well, you know what? Here's the guess, Kyle. If it's based on who balled out, there's two people. It's either Kevin Herter or Dougie McBuckets, right?
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah, I like it.
That's my guess. What's your guess? Let us know. 916-339-1140, text line, call line, and Sac Chat. Let's get into that Shams article that I keep on referencing as they discuss the Nets and other teams in the West that are interested in those two favorite players. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Ho, 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 ho. Looks like you made the ice list this year.
Santa, don't you mean the nice list?
No, ice, because Prestigio Jewelers carries all the ice you need.
For over 30 years, Prestigio Jewelers has offered in-house financing and fine jewelry. Guaranteed credit approval between $400 and $10,000 with no money down options. Make this Christmas season unforgettable. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. With locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno, or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
The holidays are always a great time to get together with family and friends, but nothing beats the thrill of Stockton Honda's deals. During Happy Honda Days, find the perfect ride in person or online. With over 400 new Hondas ready to go, now is the time to buy at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Number one claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company. Sold on report.
I always approach the holidays with a sense of excitement and a time to be with family. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. For me, the best times were when there were 3 generations all celebrating together. Today, we're the grandparents, and the holiday spotlight shines on my grandson. And I hope he'll remember holidays the way his papa does. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create your own kind of holiday memories during their holiday home sale. Unique gifts found only at Naturewood, like hall trees, curios, chairside tables, and more, are available at savings of 20% off. During Naturewood's holiday home sale, you'll find savings all around the store for every room in your home. Find your perfect bit of Christmas for your home at Naturewood Home Furnishings holiday home sale going on right now. The memories you make with your family will live with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Most people know that the term birdie in golf refers to a score of 1 under par, but where did the term originate? According to Scottish Golf History website, it comes from the early 20th century American slang term bird, which meant anything excellent. While a 1911 edition of Maclean magazine described a golf shot as bird straight down the course about 215 yards, the country club in Atlantic City lays claim to the first use of the word birdie. In 1898, A.B. Smith was playing the par 4 second hole when his second shot went within inches of the hole. That was a bird of a shot, he said, and claimed he should get double money if he scored 1 under par. He did indeed hold his putt, and the group thereafter referred to such a score as a birdie. In 1913, acclaimed writer Bernard Darwin wrote in the September issue of Country Life of his visit to America. He explained that it takes a day or two for the English onlooker to understand that a birdie is a hole done in a stroke under par. And now you know. That's Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. We are getting ready for our secret surprise Sacramento Kings guest. That's coming up between 12:15 and 12:30. Very excited for that. Esteban on the text line says, the great thing about this Kings team is there is room for improvement. And they are not completely stinking right now. That is from Esteban. And hopefully it goes from not completely stinking to just playing well. just playing well and playing well consistently. That's what we want from the Sacramento Kings. We are about to read through some of this Shams article. There is a lot to break down, but JR wants to be a part of the conversation. 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. What's up, JR? What you got for us?
What's up, De La Styles?
How you doing?
How you been? Good, my man. How you been?
Good,
Yeah?
man. Can't complain.
Tell me it's McBuckets, please.
What about him?
Is it coming up to talk to you?
I mean, I don't know. I truly do not know.
6 for 6. 6 for 6. He's on fire. He's like a chicken McNugget out there, just firing.
That's right.
He was awesome. Hey, we need Chris Murray on this team. If nothing else, just to play with Coach Brown's head a little bit. He won't sure who's there. I think we need to get him down here. It's only 4-hour drive. Just make the switch.
Definitely more than 4 hours. It's definitely more than 4 hours.
Oh, you probably drive the speed limit being a good Catholic boy from the Catholic high school. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, JR. Yeah.
Matt says that's a 9.5-hour drive.
That is not, yes. 4
JR's making him
hours.
4 hours. That's not possible.
No, not possible at all. But shout out JR. And there are a lot of different options that the Kings can go through if they want to make a move. So this is what the article says about the Nets and the teams that are interested in the Nets. The Nets have received trade interest and opened exploratory conversations around forwards Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith and guard Dennis Schroeder, sources said. Brooklyn has amassed significant cap and asset flexibility, an NBA high $60+ million in salary, cap space next summer, and 12 first-round picks and 11 second-round picks eligible for trade to position the franchise for the future. After trading Mikal Bridges to the Knicks last summer, Nets were looked as a seller. And real quick, before we continue on in this excerpt of the article, as we talk so much about the blow-ups, the Nets are probably and we'll see what happens, but to get all those picks from the Knicks for Mikal Bridges and everything that they just said that was just written and the fact that they don't stink right now, I think the Nets, that's the goal, right? To be fun and exciting, and maybe you hop into a play-in as you're garnering a lot of young assets and picks, because they're playing good right now because they haven't moved these guys yet. And they're going to move these guys. And so they're like pre-stink, right? They're pre-blow up, but they did move Mikal Bridges and they've moved a couple guys.
So I think it depends on whether or not the players that are playing right now plan to be on the team 2 years from now. Because what happens with these full-scale teardowns is 80% roster turnover within like 18 to 24 months, basically. Yeah. So I think it depends. Are Brooklyn's still early enough in the rebuild that I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it's going great, but I don't know if it's going to be worth anything because all these players are going to be sent to other teams, right? Like when Utah first got rid of everybody, Gobert and Mitchell a couple of years ago, like they were fun, they were good. A lot of the players are still on the team, but are kind of like on their way out the door. I guess the one you could say worked out was Markkanen, but it's like, you know, for that season, who cares that Jordan Clarkson was fun and exciting? You know, he's not going to be on the team when the team actually is trying to win again.
Right. Let's continue. Shams goes on to say the Warriors are among the teams that have expressed interest in those three players. Sources said 31-year-old Schroeder is having a standout season on a $13 million salary, averaging 18.6 points and 6.5 assists. Rival teams believe the Warriors are open to using injured guard DeAnthony Melton's $12.8 million expiring contract, along with draft incentives to make a potential deal for that salary range. And if you're the Nets, I mean, hey, you're taking DeAnthony Melton, who's injured, he's not going to play, and then his contract's going to expire. So then you'll have that money to be able to play with. If somebody's wondering why would the Nets do that deal with the Warriors when they're getting it depends on what the draft incentives are, because you have Schroeder, who's on I think a 1-year deal for the Nets. So if you're the Warriors or the Nets, you could be saying, hey, well, we're not going to give you you ain't getting a first-round pick for Dennis Schroeder, who's expiring. So we'll give you DeAnthony Melton and a second round pick and get out of my face. You know what I mean? Something like that. So maybe that could happen there. The reason this is being brought up is because this is what I've been talking about with how a lot of times you find yourself in this Sacramento bubble where it's, hey, what do the Kings need to do? What do the Kings need to look for? What are the Kings going to try to accomplish? When there are a lot of teams that are interested in the same three dudes. It's the same supply and demand from last season. So when they didn't make a move last season, and Brendan Nunez is sitting here, and Frankie Cardicelli is sitting here, and Chris Watkins is sitting here. We're doing Kings Roundtable, and they're saying, and I don't know which one of them, but it was one of them, hey, maybe they can make a move next season. My whole thought process was, why would the prices be any different?
Yeah.
Why would the prices be any different? And they're not going to be different. The Warriors are interested. We can go down the list right now, Kyle, all the teams that are feeling like they're a piece away. The Warriors are probably interested. The Lakers are interested. We know that. In the East, I would say the Magic are probably interested. The Rockets are looking to make a move. Memphis. So this idea, there's never you waiting for prices to drop on these same dudes is the same as my friends in the Bay Area waiting for the bubble to pop, and so they can buy a home that's worth the money. It might happen eventually, but I have no clue when.
Yeah.
You have no clue when, and you just end up moving because you don't want to wait that long.
And it only takes two teams, right? It only takes two teams to bid against each other until you're giving up a first-round pick for Dennis Schroeder, which is kind of what Brooklyn is in the luxury position of being able to do. Maybe not so much with Schroeder because I think he's on an expiring contract, but with the rest of them, it's like, we could trade him now. We could trade him next year.
Yeah.
We could sign him to an extension. You don't really know.
Right.
You're the one calling us. We're not necessarily the one calling you because we have to move him. At least in the Brooklyn case. There's other teams where it's like, no, we're kind of calling you to see if you want to take this guy. But in the Brooklyn case, they're in the luxury position of having 3-4 players that are very much coveted all across the league, and they can create bids against each other to drive up the price of those said players. And until they hit the value they wanted, which used to be 2 first-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith, which I think that's gone down a little bit. But until they hit that price that they feel comfortable with, they can just sit on these players because, I mean, if the season ended today, Brooklyn would be a play-in team, which is weird to say. But if the season ended today, Brooklyn would still be a play-in team.
CJ Holmes, senior writer for the New York Daily News, who covers the Brooklyn Nets. We had CJ on during the summer, and he said exactly what you just said. He said the Nets don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything, and they can just sit there and let the prices drive themselves up. Okay, that the revenue that you're just not even paying attention to, right? You own a place in Lake Shasta, wherever the heck it is, and you're Airbnb-ing it, okay? And you have that passive income coming in. That is what the Nets are doing right now. That's where they're at. They don't have to do anything. So, again, it starts with Cam Johnson. It starts with Dorian Finney-Smith. And then when it turns out all these other teams are interested, then it goes. And we'll get into the Pelicans. Herb Jones is being talked about. What do you think the price tag for Herb Jones is going to be?
That's a great question. I genuinely don't know.
I'll tell you this much. A first will be involved.
Yeah. I think Herb Jones and Kyle Kuzma are probably in that same group of valued players, which is interesting. And it's interesting that someone who covers the Nets kind of is saying the same thing, because I've looked at it as like, well, why would they hold on to these players if you don't plan on winning? Well, the contracts themselves hold value if you want to package them and picks for a player when you ultimately want to start buying, or a top 25 player says, hey, I want to go play for the Brooklyn Nets, which is not unreasonable to think that a player looks up and says, I want to go play for the Brooklyn Nets. Please get me out of where I am, and I want to go play for Brooklyn.
On the other side, we continue the conversation. Could the Kings bench issues be solved without a trade? Let's talk about it. Allen Stiles, Sackdown Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Pelicans. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you from my good friends at American Energy. Look, it's already cold outside. It's only going to get colder. American Energy wants to help you stay warm and make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of the $49 tune-up inspection. Normally $119, $49 right now, and that includes a full safety and duct inspection. And check it out. If your system's over 10 years old, and I'll bet it is, the tune-up, yeah, it's free. It's free from a company that's been in business since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ Better Business Bureau. Check their Yelp, check their Google reviews. Don't take my word for it. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. If you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Check them out at theaeway.com and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Seasons change, but if you hope to stay healthy, your body needs to stay active year-round, whether that's in the gym or on the trail or at work, and that's where the Good Feet store can help. Good Feet's personalized arch support system supports all 4 arches, relieving pain in your feet, knees, hips, and back. And Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Visit goodfeet.com for an appointment or stop in for a free fitting. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
The holiday driving season is here, and my good friends over at Jiffy Lube have an awesome holiday oil change special going on right now. Get a full synthetic oil change starting at just $76.99 with a $33 off coupon online. That's right, starting at just $76.99 for up to 5 quarts of full synthetic motor oil with the online coupon. Go visit jiffylube.com right now, find a location near you, and get that $33 off full synthetic oil change coupon now. Most vehicles are covered, especially vehicles and diesel or extra. You got to show the coupon for discount. See the store for details. Happy holidays from Jiffy Lube.
Here comes Floyd, throw over the middle. Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Be there December 12th for Thursday Night Football at Levi Stadium as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams.
20, one block and he's in.
This battle of NFC West rivals is presented by Rakuten.
Touchdown!
Tickets are available now. Secure your seats today at 49ers.com/tickets.
San Francisco!
There's never been a better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep because we're still celebrating Black Friday all month long at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And there's a reason people keep coming back because it's the place where a handshake still means something. Off Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And Merry Christmas from Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHD1 Sacramento. KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
One hour down, 3 to go. Allen Stiles with you. Sacktown Sports here with Kyle Ledbetter, taking you up to 2 p.m. A little over an hour away from our secret surprise guest. People are guessing that it is Doug McDermott. That would fit the typical the typical pattern that we have had with the surprise guests, but maybe it's somebody else. Okay, maybe it's Kevin Herter, who also had a really good game. Best game of the season. Maybe it's De'Aaron Fox. I always do love in the arena when someone scores, De'Aaron Fox, Fox, Fox. The echo, it always gets me. Could be anybody. Could be Domantas Sabonis. But 12:15, you got to hang around in order to see who that is. From the 916, from our guy, Eli McFly. What up, Styles? This is from the last interview that we had. What up, Styles? Have we found a nickname for Isaac Jones? If not, Kyle, get ready for this. If not, how about IHOP or Slick Jones? IHOP or Slick Jones, or maybe it's just Slick Jones.
Or I think he's saying I Slick instead of Isaac.
Slick joke. Jones. Okay.
I think that's what he's going with.
And what's IHOP?
I guess just, does he jump high? I guess maybe.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right. I guess for this one, we're going to start off with a.
And I love you, Eli. But to answer your question, nothing has. Eli, one more time. Just. Yeah.
I Slick Jones. It's tough because I get it. If you say Isaac like Isaac, then it makes more sense. But if you say his name Isaac, then I Slick is confusing.
Every time we do have this conversation, though, it turns into an actual nickname that other people will call you versus almost a term, right? I could see Mark Jones on a Isaac Jones behind the back pass. Isaac Jones, that one looked more like I Slick Jones. I could see that, but that is not a nickname you're going to use all the time. And IHOP is decent,
I guess, but why are we calling him IHOP? Does he jump high? I don't think so.
High enough. Hot Honey Jones is still number one. Hot Honey Jones is still.
Dr. Jones is what the morning show is going with.
And I'm not even sure that Hot Honey Jones is going to be there forever. I'm just still not getting a better one.
It's a placeholder.
Yeah.
Hot Honey Jones is our placeholder right now.
I mean, and they can always be different. And look at Dougie McBuckets. That's just classic. That's just too perfect, right?
I mean, that's been his nickname since he was in college. So that one's been forever.
Because everybody doesn't need a nickname also, right? They say, and I just feel like even Hot Honey Jones, there might be one too many syllables there. When we're watching a game and Draper says, swipe up, what does he say it? After a steal. Nobody just walks around calling De'Aaron Swipa.
No, and that one kind of was early in his career. I don't really hear the Swipe of the Fox things much anymore. There's still the lady who has the fox head in the crowd, but I don't really hear Swipe of the Fox much anymore.
It gets said, Draper says it when De'Aaron makes a steal, but he doesn't call him Swipa after a three.
Yeah, but when he first came into the league, like that was just what you called him, was Swipa.
Yeah.
His Instagram handle was Swipe of the Fox. It might still be.
I'm sure it still is, because it's hard to change your handles.
No, I get it, but no one really calls him that anymore.
Yeah. So maybe we're better without anything. You can't beat a Dougie McBuckets. That's just too straight on.
That one's just been grandfathered in at this point, right? Like Dougie McBuckets is so good that's just going to stand the test of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see if this Kings roster is going to stand the test of time. Once again, between 12:15, 12:30, we will have a secret surprise Sacramento guest on, and we will also have Chris Biederman joining us at 1:00 to talk some Kings and Niners as well. But as we talk about all these trades, what if a trade isn't necessary? What if the Kings can get this done with who they have? Could the Kings bench issues be solved without a trade? So let's assume the starting lineup says Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Keegan, and Domas. Off the bench, the Kings are now working with Herter, who appears to be thriving with a solidified six-man role. Isaac Jones, a 4 who can, or Hot Honey Jones, or I Slick Jones, a 4 who can rebound and play a 4 or stretch 5. And he's not a bad shooter either, right? You stick him in the corner, he'll be able to hit some of them. Number 3 on this list, Trey Lyles, can alternate the 5 with Domas and keep Domas's numbers and minutes more realistic. Only needs 8 to 12 minutes a night. Last but not least, Keon Ellis. I mean, no one says Ellis Island, right? Keon Ellis. Neon Keon we'll hear from time to time. That just rhymes. Doesn't make any sense. Keon Ellis, backup point guard who can defend, best perimeter players when Fox is out, or play the 2 in short spurts with Fox and Herter. I want to go back to the Grizzlies game, and as we discuss the bench and names, right? Because what I just read off, you hear that and you think, those names for me, I don't know if that's strong enough, right? Or at least that's the first thing I think when I hear the bench names that we're talking about. Okay, so these are the bench names for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are sitting at 15-8, and they're rolling right now. We saw firsthand, even though the Kings, they should have won that game.
And we had the stat after the game. They have 6 players off the bench who have scored at least 90 points this year, which are the names I'm guessing you're about to list.
And here are the names, right? As we just read off, hey, guys, you just now joined the show. We're talking about Keon Ellis, Kevin Huerter, Isaac Jones, Dougie McBuckets, right? Trey Lyles, and that's the Kings bench. Jordan McLaughlin, Jay Crowder. That's the Kings bench. Your first thought, based on how they've been performing or not performing, your first thought, yeah, those names just don't really do it for me. Those names don't really do it for me. Now let's go to the second highest scoring bench in the NBA right now. Santi Aldama, Jake LaRavia, Jay Huff, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Marcus Smart. On paper, I would at least say that the Grizzlies, their names are not household names either.
I think 2 of them are household names.
I was, and one of who are you putting Scottie Pippen Jr. in there?
Yeah,
because,
I'm joking because
yes. So Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr. is obviously because of Scottie Pippen.
Exactly. So you got Marcus Smart and some guys that are just playing really well. So my point is it about the names, or is it about just getting guys to produce and perform at a level that we think they can get to? Because Trey Lyles has not been performing to the level we think he can get to. Number one, he hasn't been injured. Number two, he's been working his way back from injury. When he gets back, hasn't been performing. Kevin Huerter, we'll see. It's still early, but as of right now, Kevin Huerter has been performing off the bench. Jay Crowder, I don't know how much we should expect from Jay Crowder at this point. Isaac Jones has been performing over, I think, what people expected. Keon Ellis, when he gets in, he's played well, but he's had some issues, right? And Mike Brown, he wanted to illustrate that and let us know what's really going on here. So, and then you throw in the Orlando Robinsons of the world, the Alex Lenz of the world, and you're going to get a Devin Carter at some point. So again, I don't know that this roster is good enough to have a parade in Doko, but I do think there is a world where if they got hot, Monty could say, if you look at this roster, is the roster bad, or are there just a bunch of dudes on the roster that weren't producing?
Well, I guess my next question would be, does a trade instantly make that list that we've been talking about? Huerter, Keon, Trey Lyles, Isaac Jones, that group. Does a trade instinctively make that better? Because, like, for example, say we take the Brooklyn deal and get Dorian Finney-Smith in here, and it's that package deal, and say they also throw in, I don't know, like Noah Clowney. He cooked the Kings. Say for some reason Noah Clowney is in that deal also. Does a package of Cam Johnson, Keon Ellis, Isaac Jones, and Noah Clowney or Shake Milton make it sound instinctively better, or is it just reshuffling the cards?
It would be a little bit better, right? But then then you're talking about guys that were playing well, because I know obviously in that situation Kevin Huerter would probably no longer be on the team, but in that specific situation, then you're looking at that roster and you're saying, okay, I guess Dorian Finney-Smith is going to come. I think he'd have to come off the bench.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's coming off the bench with Keon Ellis, and Keon Ellis, their games where Mike Brown doesn't even think he can play him. And that's another thing too. Devin Carter is going to get reevaluated in January. We're all talking about Keon Ellis, where it's very clear right now Mike Brown likes where Kevin Huerter is, and dare I say even a Jordan McLaughlin at times, but definitely Kevin Huerter ahead of Keon Ellis. So, and I don't know how much coaches get as far as says in these things, but does Mike Brown want to move Kevin Huerter right now for a 4? and leave a hole in that guard position. And it's funny because we've been saying how they have too many guards, but is it Kevin Huerter's going to move and Keon and Colby are just going to have to play better and figure it out? Or are you going to get a guard back?
Or
I don't think you are.
Colby might also be on the move in some of these trades, depending on, what the Kings don't have a plethora of second-round picks, and Colby Jones is a second-round pick that obviously is 2 years in now, so that might get shuffled a little bit. But I think that's the question to ask, right? Because it's the only realistic trade the Kings are going to make, right? Everything we've been hearing is not going to trade the core three, not going to trade Keegan Murray, not going to trade Malik Monk. So this is what you're working with, right? It's a deal within the margins is what the Kings are probably working with at this point. And what you just said about Mike Brown, likes what Huerter's doing. He's putting up 15 points a game over the last 4 games. He just seems more comfortable now that they've given him a defined role. Maybe that has something to do with it. But you look at that and you say, are we better off just investing in him and his projected growth, or are we better off making the move for insert stretch 4 here to come off the bench with the first unit and play 25 minutes a game?
Yeah, and it comes back to, or do you move Malik back to the bench in some of those situations and move DeRozan to the 2?
I think that all depends on how the next 15 games go.
Yeah, and there is a world where Kevin Huerter is maybe not untouchable, but isn't as touchable because of the maybe perception as far as Keon Ellis's growth that fans and some media have versus what the Kings organization has him at.
Which at that point is where you bring in some of the other factors that go into a trade-in. Like, for example, contracts. Are you trading for Matisse Thybulle, who is basically on an expiring contract unless he opts into his player option? Or are you trading for Kyle Kuzma, where you're making an $80 million commitment over 2.5 years, basically? That all depends on what trade they actually decide to make to move Huerter and whoever else in the margins, whether that's Lyles or whatever else. But I look at it and I feel like that group of 9 is there, and then the free agent signings from this offseason and into the season, i.e. Jordan McLaughlin, Dougie McBuckets, Jay Crowder, those guys are still options for you off the bench. It doesn't like it's not like they disappear. It's just their rotation minutes are certainly not guaranteed and maybe come in spots.
916-339-1140. Javier, we see you. We will get to you on the other side. You will kick off our next segment. If you want to be part of the conversation, you know the number. If not, 916-339-1140. Call line, text line, Sack Chat, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win.
He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Great song. Great song. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. Javier has been waiting. We are going to get to Javier. He's going to kick off this segment as we continue to discuss the Kings and what they should do. Sitting on 2 wins in a row, playing better, doing it against some lackluster competition, but we've seen them trick off games before. So we are enjoying it, but we understand that this team has to be better. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Javier, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Javier? What you got for us?
How you doing, Mr. Stiles?
Good.
The last sentence more or less sums up my point. And yesterday, it was crazy. I'm listening, and me and Draper had words because he literally stated the Kings at full strength are better than the Denver Nuggets. I said, the Kings consistently have shown one thing, and that's inconsistency this season. I'm glad you're having a segment of some rational Kings conversation about the bench and lack thereof, because I'm a Kings fan, but I'm a realist. But he just kept talking over me and just kept asking me, who's your team? Who's your team? Who's your team? It's not about who's my team. We beat 2 subpar, horrible, lottery-driven, rebuilding teams. The funny part about how this is, Kevin Huerter's playing well and so on and so forth, and I'm trying to make the point of we're not better than the Denver Nuggets. They have the MVP, and no one's taking Sabonis over Jamal Murray. And I love Sabonis. Jamal Murray is an NBA champion, a Hall of Fame, a USA
Wait, Javier. So this guy, I got to listen back to this. Y'all went back and forth, huh?
Well, because he sat there and acted as if like Jamal Murray is like a shell of himself because he's having a bad 20-game stretch and these playoff games have worn on. Like, he's a NBA champion, a U.S. Olympian, and he's not in any way, shape, or form being picked after Sabonis 9 times out of 10 by anybody outside of the city of Sacramento. Take your broadcasting play-by-play hat off for just 10 minutes, please, because I feel like I was listening to The View on television when he wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise and kept talking over me, telling me, who are you a fan of, Javier? Who are you a fan of, Javier? And then some cartoon character sending the text line, hang up on this clown.
Well,
25 is not the problem. It's the bench.
Right.
I know. The Kings still need a dog on that team outside of Crowder. You're telling me that a guy like the Morris brother, Marcus Morris, wouldn't help this team? And secondly, Kevin Huerter's playing well. Good. That's when the striking is right. You're sitting there, you're going to base the 2 games. Oh, we got him back now. What about the last 18 months? You got some value out of him now? Now's the time when the iron is hot. I'm telling you, Kings fans, it ain't about me not liking Kevin Huerter. It ain't about me wanting to take on salary. But heaven forbid, knock on wood, somebody gets hurt, like we've had this year. You're telling me a guy, even at $26 million average annually, John Collins not going to just plug and play at the 4, the 3, but he would be a tremendous addition to have on our bench for any situation where we don't have any lack of productivity. We have to go to the second unit for a Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles or whoever else you're throwing, a Kobe Jones. Go sign a Marcus Morris to go put a dog on the bench. Just go out there ready to hit somebody in the mouth.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Javier. Wow, Kyle, I should have asked around what time was that at? I love drama. I needed to listen to that.
I have no idea. I was not listening to the station yesterday, so I have no idea.
Yeah, you had it. You had it off. I would be doing the same thing. Look, the Nuggets there are a lot of conversations going on here. As far as the Nuggets are concerned, I'm not that high. I've never been that high on the Nuggets. I'm high on Jokic. But Jamal Murray, and there's no point in me going back and forth with Javier because it sounds like he already did that with Draper, but it sounds like he was saying nobody would pick Sabonis over Jamal Murray outside of Sacramento. Again, not really my fight. My name's Bennett. I'm not in it, but I don't think that's true. And if it's all because I could even say it's not true simply because of availability. That's what I would say. You can talk about. I just don't even know where Jamal Murray is in the tier list of guards.
I'm sorry. Can I put out that? And I'm not picking on you, Javier, at all. Yeah. But I'm not picking on you. I just want to say Hall of Famer Jamal Murray is a stretch, a big stretch right there. But also, I know back in 2023 because Sabonis did so much of the Jokic type of point center things. Yes. And honestly, those are the only reference points we have to like a true point center like that, where he's the center of the offense, is Jokic and Sabonis. people were making that comparison of like the Kings are on the Nuggets timeline of this is the first run and they're going to build on it. And then by year, they're going to bring in their Aaron Gordon and their KCP, and then they'll go from there. And it's like, we figure it out beyond that. And now it's just a different team. They're not on that Nuggets timeline anymore. And we'll see how it all pieces together with this new version of the offense compared to what the Nuggets were doing before. But Denver still has a number 1, 2, or 3 player in the league, depending on who you're asking, and that will always separate you.
Yes. I'm not even really sure the connection between the Nuggets and what the Kings are and moving off of Kevin Huerter while the iron is hot. I'm not really sure how we got there, but I will take a moment to listen back on my drive home, because I love that type of drama. Look, ultimately, the Kings, we keep on talking about December, and I do think as much as we're worried about, or some may be worried about, losing out on Cam Johnson or losing out on Dorian Finney-Smith, the last couple segments we've spent talking about it's a seller's market, if you will. If you are the Nets, they can just sit there and chill. If you're the Kings, if you are winning, and as much as we'll talk about, if you're winning, is it fool's gold, whatever, the bottom line is if you're winning, nobody's going to complain. And there are enough names out there that if you don't want to be a part of the Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith sweepstakes, if you will, and give up 2 first-rounders as you watch those price tags just skyrocket up, there will be people, and I'm not even saying I won't be one of those people to say, why didn't you at least go get them based on what the cost is? If the cost is out of control, then I would say you're kind of stuck. It's one thing to be aggressive, but you want to be aggressive for the right person and the right player at the right time. And I'm not saying not to make a move. I'm saying that these aren't the only couple moves to make. The price tags might not be completely different for a lot of these guys, but that article, we've only scratched the surface on that article. All of your favorites, right? If you have been a part of Kings Talk for the last 2 to 3 years, all your favorites are coming to town. Like when you watch the Grammys, all your favorite artists, or the Emmys, all your favorite TV shows are going to be in the building. Your favorite people. You got Jeremy Grant. You got Kyle Kuzma. You got every player on the Nets. All the classics are on the table. John Collins, come on down.
Herb Jones, you want to join the conversation?
Herb Jones, come on down. Everybody that you have been hearing about, they're back. Matisse Thybulle, come on. Robert Williams Jr. Every name that's been mentioned the last 2 to 3 years is a part of this article. So if you don't want to be a part of the Nets price gouging, you don't have to.
I remember it was the deadline 2 years ago, and Thybulle was going from the Sixers to the Blazers. Yeah. I remember everyone was throwing their hands up and wanting to get Matisse Thybulle. And now we're back again. It's like nothing's changed.
And the one thing, and I love to just be honest about this stuff, because it's funny to me, and I do it myself. So when I'm having fun with fans, I'm having fun because I do it myself. When's the last time y'all seen Matisse Thybulle play? Seriously.
I knew he was hurt. I didn't realize he hadn't played at all this year.
Some of these names that get thrown out, y'all ain't seen them play. You haven't.
I haven't watched a Hornets game in 2 years.
You haven't seen them play. And that's okay. That's part of being a fan. But it does crack me up when, they can't be worse than X player on the Kings, so do the deal. He ain't even been playing.
I'm trying to think now, maybe one other time I've watched Kyle Kuzma other than when he played the Kings. Like
the Lakers.
But like, I know what Kyle Kuzma is. I have a strong feeling Kyle Kuzma is no different than he was 2 years ago. Maybe I'm tripping, but I've got a feeling Kyle Kuzma is about the same player he was the first year on the Wizards. Just a bigger version of that now.
The Dorian Finney-Smith stuff. When is the last time y'all have actually watched Dorian Finney? And maybe you're grinding film. Maybe you're watching YouTube highlights. I don't know. But he didn't even play when the Nets came out here.
I do have to say, I actually do enjoy watching Brooklyn. Like of the like.
Well, they're a fun team, but Dorian Finney-Smith's been in and out of the lineup.
Yes, that's the other part of it is like the injuries of it all. But like in terms of a league pass team, I actually kind of like watching Brooklyn.
Give us more names. Give us, if you're gonna give us a name for these trades, you prove to us you watch them. You prove to us you watch. You say, Allen, I watched them on YouTube. Allen, I got a league pass, and I watched PJ watch whoever it is. All right, we got a 707 number that we're gonna get to on the other side. And we are also going to get to Casey. The calls keep coming in. I don't know what's going on, Javier. I don't know what happened yesterday. Everybody's saying you're Canadian and you are or no, they're saying that Murray's a Canadian and they're saying you are a Nuggets fan. I don't know what happened last night.
That was so confusing. He's a Canadian?
Yeah, maybe he is from Vacaville. I don't know what's going
Jamal
on.
Murray.
More calls, more texts, more section on the other side. And we hear from Mike Scotto. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires. He's still hot. Kevin Herter from downtown has a 15-point first quarter.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is Tuesday, getting out the door to a chilly start. Make sure you've got those layers ready to go. Look for some areas of patchy fog. And as we head through the afternoon, we will see mainly sunny skies with light winds. Highs today peaking in the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
This report is brought to you by the San Francisco 49ers. Be there December 12th for Thursday Night Football at Levi's Stadium as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. This battle of NFC West rivals is presented by Rakuten. Tickets are available at 49ers.com/tickets.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. That means it's time to save big on your next job. Right now, get your choice of 5-gallon pails of Valspar Signature Ceiling Paint or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Flat Ceiling Paint for just $148. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Ever find holiday shopping overwhelming? We've got to figure out what they want and then find it all too. Enter Kohl's. They have the best gifts all in one spot. The toys your kids have been asking for, the silk PJs she's been eyeing, and the stylish sweater he'll love. And you can get 20% off some of your gifts during their customer appreciation event. Yup, holiday shopping at Kohl's is the move. Select styles. Offers on December 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to toys. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Time now for your 49ers injury report, brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. In the 38-13 win over the Bears on Sunday, the Niners suffered a couple of more significant injuries. Left guard Ben Barch suffered a high ankle sprain, and running back Isaac Guerrero departed with a possible foot sprain. With Christian McCaffrey and J.P. Morgan already on the injured list, this could be a real problem for the 49ers, who get ready to take on the Los Angeles Rams in a key game on Thursday night.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. It's Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Good Guys Heating and Cooling. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Ba, 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 ba. Yep, 'tis the season. Hey, if you take pride in your gift giving, here's a great idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift from the Good Feet store. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE. It's Broken Spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. as we go through all of the trades and different conversations that are being had. Michael Scotto on the Nets situation. We have that. We're about to play that for you. Don't forget, we are less than an hour away from our super secret Sacramento Kings segment. Who will it be? Dougie McBuckets, come on down. De'Aaron Fox, come on down. Malik Monk, come on down. Could be Malik coming from the starting lineup. Could be Malik.
Sure, who
as
knows?
well. Who knows? Only you will find out. 12:15, 12:30, 916-339-1140. Let's get to Casey. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Casey? What you got for us?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So as far as Javier goes, I can understand why Draper got upset with him because he doesn't even have his facts straight. Like you guys mentioned right before the break, Javier mentioned multiple times that Murray was a U.S. Olympian and he plays for Team Canada. Second of all, Sabonis has been a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and Murray's never been an All-Star even one time, and he hasn't been All-NBA at all, let alone he's a point guard who averages 4.5 assists for his career. So to say that Sabonis wouldn't be taken by anybody outside of Sacramento is just completely foolish and doesn't even deserve entertaining that thought.
Well, thanks for the call, Casey. Yeah, great stuff. Look, let's not get too, I don't know what happened, but let's not get too off the rails here. And Javier looks like one of those, that meme where, I forget the movie that it's from, where the soldier's on the hill and he pulls out his sword. There are a bunch of dudes just soldiers about to attack him. That's what I feel like is going on right now. Look, y'all can take it off. Y'all can get it popping in the Sack chat, but let's not spend any more airtime here on something that happened yesterday. I know I kind of started it, all right, but let's move forward. And speaking of moving forward, let's get to Michael Scotto and what he had to say on the Nets, the Kings, and more. Here it is.
Michael, it is that time of the year where there's a lot of conversation going on right now. And I got to ask you, because when it comes to trade talk, what NBA teams do you see going to be very active?
Well, Megan, I think we've got a few teams, and primarily it's around teams that are underwhelming at this point. First off, I'd look at the Sacramento Kings. They made a big splash to get DeMar DeRozan in the offseason, but they're on the fringe of the play-in tournament. That's not where they want to be. So look for Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, those two contracts combined, along with their future first-round picks to be dangled. You've also got the Chicago Bulls. they have a little bit of a youth movement they're trying to get to. They lost DeRozan in the offseason. They traded away Alex Caruso. So for them, Nikola Vucevic is playing really well, and Zach LaVine. Look for them to shop both of those guys. And for the Golden State Warriors, they're trying to get Stephen Curry and Draymond Green another championship, and they've got some intriguing pieces to make moves if they would like. Jonathan Kuminga is a guy that they were far apart on extension talks with. Kuminga wanted a max contract. They were looking at more like $30 million. That's a gap as wide as the Brooklyn Bridge across the area. So I think that's a name you have to look at, and DeAnthony Melton because of his expiring contract. So those are some teams that I'm eyeing to be active on the market, Megan.
I heard that, Kyle, and it didn't really sound like there was anything surprising. Again, just like we said with the Shams article, all your favorites are coming to town for the holidays, right? Yeah. I mean, it's was there a name there that surprised you?
Well, and the teams also. It's like the Kings and Warriors the Nets want to start a bidding war between the Kings and the Warriors,
yes.
Right? So those are the names that we're going to put out there, right? Or the Kings are interested, the Warriors are interested. Because theoretically, if they're rivals with each other, it might drive them to throw in a more pick or something. Yeah, Brooklyn's trying to play the game. And honestly, I think they're a while away from actually making a move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Brooklyn, it might be one of those cases where, do you remember about 3 years ago where Orlando didn't make a move or didn't give indications they were going to make a move, and then they traded Vucevic to the Bulls, Gordon to the Nuggets. They made another move. I can't remember. They traded all their players within 24 hours right before the deadline. That sounds like what it might be for the Nets is they might wait until right up around the deadline, and then they might just part with everybody. If the plan is, this is the year we want to do some hard losing, we want to end up with a top draft pick, and that player will kind of be the foundation of where they're going. Because I think Brooklyn can have up to 3 first-round picks this year, and they have their own. So maybe that's the game they decide come February. Because right now I think they would have the 9th worst record in the league, or the 10th worst record in the league, or something like that.
Well, and I would say that the difference between the Warriors and the Kings right now, if you're the Nets and you're trying to drive up that price tag, the difference is that the Warriors, number one, they sustained an injury that is not returning in DeAnthony Melton. DeAnthony Melton was balling for the Warriors. That's number one. Number two is the fact that the Warriors were playing their best ball to start the season. So they've just started to drop off. The Kings, they weren't playing their best ball. They weren't playing good basketball. They had some injuries. Their injuries didn't completely derail the season, but the Kings haven't had as much time to gel together, mesh together, and they made a bigger move than what the Warriors did. Yeah, they moved off of Klay Thompson, but the Warriors got more role pieces, and that one, I guess you could argue that Klay is their Harrison Barnes in a way. They brought in one new player, but the Warriors, they're also trying to figure out what Andrew Wiggins is and what Jonathan Kuminga is and who's going to start. And now Draymond is coming off the bench.
Yeah,
as of a game or so ago,
which that might not last because of injuries.
Exactly. So I think the difference is that the Warriors more so know we're not good enough, right? So if you're looking at both teams, the Kings and the Warriors, as far as who is more desperate, the Kings star is 26 years old. The Kings' second star is 28 years old. Okay, their third star, as far as production is concerned, is 35, DeMar DeRozan. But another star that they have is 26, in Malik Monk. And they have a young stud waiting in the wings in Keegan Murray. And we have to see what Keegan Murray is going to become. I'm not going to switch up here and fully say that I think Keegan is going to become Kawhi Leonard. I'm not saying that. But the Kings, you could argue, are nowhere near as desperate as the Warriors. So I think if you're the Nets, you're driving them both against each other, but you're thinking that if you're the Warriors, if you're truly going to go all in for it, are you going to get into a bidding war with the Kings over Cam Johnson, or are you going to say, bleep it, let's go get Jimmy Butler and just stink after that? Because if I'm the Warriors, I'm saying bleep it. I'm not giving up 2-3 first rounders to maybe be better with Cam Johnson and Dorian. I don't know if the Warriors are a Dorian Finney-Smith away for what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think the Kings are to win a championship, but they're still building. The Warriors are trying to win now.
Yeah, the Warriors' solution this offseason, I guess I commend them for it because I didn't think it would work out. Their solution was, let's just get bodies in the door.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure it out later. And honestly, the way it's worked so far is kind of doing those like 10 to 12 man rotations. But now when the going gets tough, they've realized they only trust about like 8 guys, kind of similar to what the Mike Brown thing is. So the Warriors are in that different space, I think, because it's a matter of expectations, right? The Warriors are saying, we have to win a championship in the next 2 years. The Kings have a longer window of time to work with because of that age factor you were just bringing up, with Fox being 26, Monk being 26, Herter being 26, Domas being 29, I want to say. So they have more time to work with in that sense, but I think that having the Warriors bid against the Kings for players on Brooklyn I think it's just the best option Brooklyn has right now to generate value for those players.
Well, and then the other teams that were, brought up, obviously the Lakers. Are the Lakers a Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith away? I don't know. I don't think so either. And it's funny that it's all because these teams are are higher in the standings than the Kings. The difference is just what exactly you're trying to do this season. The Kings are just trying to be better. The Kings are just trying to get into the dance. The Warriors are trying to get number 5 before it's all said and done. Todd, we see you. We will get to you on the other side. You will kick off our 11:45 segment. So don't move a muscle. Nobody move a muscle. We got more Sacktown sports coming up, more Kings talk. Allen Stiles, Kyle Ledbetter. We'll be right back.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Western Health Advantage, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one, and if you want to save on a new Ford, you gotta drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
At Makita, good enough is never enough. Anyone can throw in a stronger motor, but it takes precision to find that balance of power, performance, and longevity. We obsess over every detail. We design, test, redesign, and do it all over again to create tools that'll keep going with you from project to project, job site to job site, year after year. If it's not right, don't put your name on it. Makita, available at the Home Depot.
Here comes Floyd, throw over the middle. Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Be there December 12th for Thursday Night Football at Levi's Stadium as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams.
20, one block and he's in.
This battle of NFC West rivals is presented by Rakuten.
Touchdown!
Tickets are available now. Secure your seats today at 49ers.com/tickets.
San Francisco!
Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino in Elk Grove. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and our thrilling high-limit room with Sky River rewards that add up and up, and 18 elevated restaurants and bars. There's something for everyone. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Still trying to make it happen is the text line with Isaac Jones. And we are approaching, let's see here, we're about 30 minutes away from the danger zone. Okay, as far as our surprise, secret, special Sacramento guest. When I say danger zone, that means you don't want to get up and make a sandwich. It's almost lunchtime, I know, but you might want to hold on between 12:15, 12:30.
Depends how much coaching Mike Brown has to do during practice today.
Malik is going to make sure they get out on time. Malik is huge on making sure they get out on time. But in reference to who we had on last time, Isaac Jones, people are still trying to keep this nickname thing going from the 916. How about Just Right Jones? In a kind of distant reference to Tall Jones. I know football, not NBA. And he fits in whatever is needed, making him just right for the Kings. Just Right Jones. And it's Just Right Jones for 3. Keep them coming or don't.
No, keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
We still want to try and beat Hot Honey Jones or Dr. Jones.
That's right. Yeah, the Dr. Jones, it's just too basic for me.
I get it. It's just, that's what Dave and Jason are. That's their submission. I think it's second place right now.
What is the doctor?
Well, it's from Indiana Jones.
That's right. Okay. All right. And the kids these days, has he even seen Indiana Jones? These kids have you seen Indiana Jones?
I have seen the one that has Sean Connery in it. I don't know which one that was, but I've seen that one.
916-339-1140. Let's get to Todd. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Todd? What you got for us?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's up, guys? Hey, it's Raider Todd. Get it right. Raider Todd.
Sorry. It didn't say that on the screen.
That's
I'm sorry.
my bad. I didn't realize that was your formal name.
Oh, yeah. I got fans out there. They know me. They love me. So they
Thought
need to
Mr.
know
Raider might have been
Todd.
your father.
All right, Raider Todd. What you got for us?
So I want to talk about our Kings. We're talking about trades. And if you remember in the offseason, what do we need to address? We need length. We need wings, guys. And, it takes me back to when we played Portland, their length was really a problem, just how long and wide they are. So why have I not heard anybody talk about, what about Keegan Murray's identical twin brother, Chris? Now, I'm not saying he's our savior and he's going to take us over the hump to the top right now, but to your point, Alan, we're still building. Mm-hmm. So in a year or 2 or 3, how come no one ever talks about Chris Murray? And if we were going to draft him, if Portland didn't a couple of years ago, we were one pick away. Why can't we work on that project with this twin brother? I mean, does anybody else seeing that here? Why am I the only one seeing that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, JR actually mentioned that a little bit earlier, Todd. Thanks for the call. He mentioned that about, 30 minutes ago, coming along with Matisse Thybulle. Look, I'm all for the family affair and adding in another Murray, and he's a lefty, so I love lefties. From what I've seen, this is a guy who's not getting a ton of time on a pretty injury-riddled Blazers team. I don't mind adding him to the roster. I just think he is probably more of a project than maybe a lot of people understand or realize, I should say. I don't mind adding him. I from what I've seen in the couple, I mean, they've played him a good bit too. From what I've seen, he is definitely not Keegan Murray, respectfully. He's definitely not Keegan Murray, and he's a project. But I'm never against adding some 6'9" length to a team, especially the Kings. And you said yourself, Todd, not to save you or anything like that. Yeah, he could easily be a sweetener in a deal. And you're talking about Matisse Thybulle or even a Robert Williams, and you add in Chris Murray for whatever the Kings are giving back to them. I'm not against it. From what I've seen, he looks like a project.
Well, yeah, and I think the other part is Portland sunk. I'm not going to say it's a sunk cost, but Portland spent a first-round pick on him in a year and a half. I don't think he's worth less than a first-round pick at this point, and even if he is, Portland would rather keep him under team control for 2.5 years and see if there's something they can get out of him versus just cutting him free for no reason, basically. I mean, that's the bigger part of it too. If the Kings wanted Chris Murray, they needed to draft him, and unfortunately it was one pick short. They were one pick short of being able to pick him.
Yeah, and look, as far as the playing time is concerned, again, going back to Mike Brown, it's good to have options, but this guy is, he needs time to develop, and even though he's only playing 12 minutes a game. He's played in 21 games. He's averaging 12.7 minutes on the Blazers. And Scooty's been hurt. They've had some injuries. Jeremy Grant's been hurt. They've had injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's playing 12.7 minutes a game.
The emergence of, personally, one of my favorite players, Delano Banton, has not helped Chris Murray at all, because those two are kind of fighting for the same kinds of minutes right now.
Yeah, last season he played 21 minutes a game. He played in 62 games. He started 29 of them. He was averaging 21.7 minutes per game. He is averaging, last season he averaged 6 points a game. This season he's averaging 4.5. So I'm that's fine for a sweetener, but yeah, as far as anything that's going to really move the Kings forward this season, I don't think Chris Murray is that guy.
No, but it would be fun. It would just be fun for the fun story.
Of course it would be fun.
Which, to that same point, like if Chris Murray ever were to be traded, the Kings make the most sense because of that connection to his brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same kind of thing's happening with Brooklyn, which we were just talking about before, which is like if anyone's gonna value the players on the Kings going out in a deal, it's probably gonna be Brooklyn, because so much of their coaching staff worked one-on-one with these players over the past couple of years, right? Between Jordy and Davidas Dulkis and Dutch Gately. These were all assistant coaches on the Kings the last 3 years who are now part of Brooklyn's staff. So in that same respect, like, it makes sense going outward that maybe they say, we want to bring in a Kevin Huerter, we want to bring in a Trey Lyles, we want to bring in a Colby Jones, guys who they've had experience working with over the last few years in a trade.
The 209 says, give me John Collins, long, athletic, and a three-point shooter that stretches the floor. Yes, trade Huerter now while he is hot, but I need another year with Murray. I don't think we're using him properly. Needs more development. That is from the 209. And again, Kevin Huerter, dealing with the Jazz, they're going to want a lot in return. You might get a little bit of a discount because John Collins isn't cheap, but we know that discount might not be as much as we would like. So you deal with Danny Ainge and you never know what could happen. John Collins is probably the guy, because you have the Nets going on with their ability to drive up the price tag. And then you have Danny Ainge with the Jazz. He's always got a high price tag. So you're just looking around and, I don't know, eBay, Kyle, I don't know if you ever use eBay, but you're trying to find the best deal somewhere. And every deal you look at, buy now, you can put a bid on it or buy now, but all the buy nows are just either expensive or the shoes aren't the right size. They're a little bigger than you want. So you're just looking for the right fit somewhere.
But also it's like, do you really need this?
Do you really need to buy it?
Do you really need this $15 pair of tennis shoes?
Yeah,
really?
I just got some new Dunks, the they're black in the dark gray dunks on the sneaker app today.
I was going to say, you're a sneakerhead.
Did
so
I
it's a
need
different
them?
Conversation.
Did I need them? Absolutely not. Were they supposed to get more shoes this year? No. But I liked them, right? So a lot of people like John Collins.
I don't think that justifies it.
And I don't know if you can justify John Collins' price tag and whatever John Collins is going to come with as far as Danny Ainge.
So you're saying there's a block of Kings fans where instead of sneakerheads, they're like they're the stretch four equivalent, right?
Exactly.
They're just obsessed with stretch fours.
Exactly.
And I don't really need this Jeremy Grant, but God, I really do love this Jeremy Grant.
We need a stretch four. We need a stretch four no matter what.
But do we need 5 of them, really?
Yeah, we probably don't. But the Pelicans, they have them. And Herb Jones might be on the move because of that. Let's look forward to let's look forward to the actual roster here and the schedule that is upcoming. The Pelicans on Thursday, they host the Nuggets next Monday. And as we talk about the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram, we have some news on Brandon Ingram, injury-wise and trade-wise. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Shriners Children's Northern California, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
The Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Holidays at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Yeah, that's my girl in the
Dylan Scott, Country Till I Die Tour.
That's my girl.
Platinum selling artist Dylan Scott. With special guests Jackson Dean and Avery Anna.
Just can't have mine. Thank God she loves me. God knows I got so lucky.
Friday, January 10th, 7 p.m. The venue in Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business business, technology, Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
2 hours down, 2 to go. And Kyle, fellow Sacktowners, we might have a winner. Now, this person from the 530, they put in a couple different names for Isaac Jones. They say Sir Isaac, which is a no. They say Big Honey, which is a no. But I think we might have one. I'm sure this is somebody else's name. I'm sure this is not completely unique. I still like Hot Honey Jones, don't get me wrong. But this one is just quick. It's to the point. Kind of speaks to his story a bit. The 530, I give you Big Hustle. Come on. I like Big Hustle.
Does he even hustle like comparatively to everyone else?
Doesn't matter. And yes, Big Hustle. 530, Kyle's being a hater. I like Big Hustle. I like Big Hustle a lot.
More than Hot Honey Jones?
I like Hot Honey Jones, but if I'm looking at how a nickname is typically used, it's a little, my issue, it's a smidge wordy. Big Hustle is not wordy. Somebody said that's the nickname. Amid Rock says that's a nickname from Blindside. Maybe.
Oh, is it? Big Hustle?
Like I said, it's somebody's nickname.
I have not watched Blindside, and I will not watch Blindside.
Because
so I don't know.
Why? Because he didn't like it?
Well, because I know the story behind it now. Also, it glorifies Hugh Freeze, and I'm not a fan of that.
There are TikToks that will debunk movies, and I just wish they wouldn't do that. Did you see the one? This guy debunks all of your favorite sports movie, and the one he debunked was Remember the Titans. How the story of Remember the Titans, the last game, number one, teams were already integrated. The way that timeline was not correct.
What? The movie Remember the Titans wasn't an accurate representation of race relations? What?
Teams were already integrated. That's number one. There were a couple others throughout what he says, but the other big one that I remember is that last game, or it was something like there actually were no close games. They beat the brakes off every team, and something like the game before the championship was the closest game that they had, but in the movie they made that the championship game. They actually whooped what out of that team in the championship game to remain undefeated, but they made it look like it was a close game in the movie.
You're saying that the movie Remember the Titans wasn't historically accurate?
And I just wish they would stop doing that.
Who could have possibly known that?
Just let people enjoy things, even if it's not completely accurate.
This is coming from you, who they made a Remember the Titans style movie about your high school that was truly terrible.
My goodness. When the game stands tall, the De La Salle movie, I got through, me and my buddy, I don't even know any of my buddies that watched that. It was on cable. I got through maybe 6 minutes.
It's so bad.
I don't know who greenlit that.
So bad.
Very bad.
I remember watching it when I was a kid, like around, because, my grandparents are like, oh, he's a sports guy. Let's just grab the sports movie. I remember watching it even as a 12-year-old. I'm like, that is so bad.
Incredibly bad.
It's so bad.
Incredibly bad. 916 says Big Gritty. That just reminds me of the Flyers guy, the Flyers mascot. But I think we're warmer. I think we're warmer some way, somehow.
If you're a fan of Big Hustle, then we'll stick it out.
Just a big something.
We'll put it on the podium.
A big something.
Just something.
Yeah.
Big anything.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll take it.
All right. Besides Big Hustle, because Kyle is questioning Isaac Jones's ability to hustle.
I'm not questioning it. I'm saying all NBA players are hustlers.
Facts. All right. Let's look forward for the Kings. They are at the Pelicans on Thursday, who will be without Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. Then they host the Nuggets on Monday. Brandon Ingram out indefinitely for the Pelicans. That didn't stop Shams for including him in trade talks in that blockbuster article that came out this morning. Shams on the Brandon Ingram trade. Ingram's new representation, Clutch, will remain in constant dialogue with David Griffin on the 27-year-old's future. Because of their financial situation, the Pelicans are unlikely to reach Ingram's current salary annually on an extension, making the trade route much more likely than a long-term deal, league sources said. New Orleans values Ingram highly, though, and is expected to keep the extension door open with him. That was a word salad. Yeah. I don't know what. So they want to move him. Basically, what I took from that is they want to move him, but if you're willing to take less money, we will extend you. That's what I took from that.
Yeah, so it's like we value you still, but not at $36 million a year. So what are we going to do now? And I don't know if any team is going to pay Brandon Ingram $30 million a year, but I think it would behoove him to hit free agency and find out, right? Because somebody's going to pay him a 4-year contract, I would imagine.
And the whole deal is, if you're the Pelicans, you don't want to lose him for nothing. So he might be the deal to where you're looking around. Like I said, the eBay comparison, you're looking around and it's buy now, and someone's too expensive, and these shoes don't fit, and there's too many bidders on those shoes over there. He might be the shoe that you think and say, okay, I don't know if it's the perfect fit, but it's a better value for what you could get. And I'm not even talking about as far as the Kings, because I don't think the Kings I don't see how that works with DeMar DeRozan. I don't see that.
In terms of a mid-season trade, though, for the Pelicans, even though I've said before, I have no idea what the Pelicans are doing. If they're going to make a mid-season trade, it would have to be with a team that Brandon Ingram feels comfortable re-signing with, right? Because otherwise, it would make more sense for them to do what the Bulls did with DeRozan, where you just let him hit free agency, signs a contract, and then you do a sign and trade afterwards. Because at least with a sign and trade, you have a chance of getting back 70 cents on the dollar for what Ingram is worth with a team that's willing to sign him to a 4-year extension, instead of we're just trading him as a 2-month rental, which is, I mean, we're having a hard time finding the team that would trade for Brandon Ingram, nonetheless trade for him for just 2 months.
Right. And I'm sure they're out there. I mean, the Warriors, they need a secondary scorer who could turn into the main scorer once it's all said and done with the with Steph and the crew. So they could be interested. I'm looking here just at Brandon. Yeah, so 36 mil, and the reports were he wanted 50 mil a year, right? That was in the summer. I just don't think he's going to get 50 mil a year.
No, I don't think he's going to get 30 million a year. He might get 30 million a year from someone. I don't think he's going to get even number 2 money at this point. I mean, you could argue 30 million is like a high end number 3 money in the modern CBA, but I don't think he's going to get number 2 money from any team in the league at this point.
Yeah, I really am trying to pull this back to the Kings, but I don't see how the Kings get involved here with Brandon Ingram. It just doesn't make sense. You know, a team who does make sense, this is going to be extremely random, but they've been looking for offense. KCP has not necessarily been exactly what they'd hoped. I know they're dealing with injuries, but I could see you want to make this team even longer. I know they had a lot of money going into the offseason, and I'm not even completely positive what their money situation is, but they have assets like Jonathan Isaac, guys like that. I could see the Magic, they still need a guy to get them a bucket when the game gets tight. That's not Paolo Banchero yet. It could be Franz Wagner, but it also could just be Brandon Ingram. I could see I know they wanted a guard, but you could play him at the 3. I could see maybe a smidge redundant with Franz Wagner, but I could see the Magic saying, hey, we'll take a chance to get a star, get the talent into the building with Brandon Ingram, and you have a big 3 of Paolo, Franz, and Brandon Ingram in the East. I mean, and you get, you still have KCP and Jalen Suggs. That's you're gonna have to move some of those guys to get Brandon Ingram, but with the deal expiring, and where the Magic are, they're not really nobody wants to give up picks, but they could say, hey, we're willing to do it to kind of take this step. I could see the Magic being interested.
I guess I'm trying to piece that trade together real quick here. It's hard to make it work because I don't think the Pelicans want Jonathan Isaac. He just signed a giant long-term extension with Orlando, and I don't think maybe that's the piece they move, but given his injury history, I don't think that Jonathan Isaac would exactly be the centerpiece of a trade they would want in exchange for Brandon Ingram, who they've just, poured years in his development and things of those sorts.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? I mean, I think Cole Anthony probably goes the other way. Maybe, I don't know, Gary Harris might go the other way. Maybe one of the young guys like Jet Howard or Anthony Black or something. But yeah, I even that I don't think works unless
it's
Ingram,
the money. Yeah, it's the money issue.
Well, also an Ingram willing to sign a long-term deal, right? Like they're not going to give up any of those young pieces if not getting a full-time commitment from Ingram that he wants to re-sign.
And maybe he will. Magic Star, let's not forget Magic Star Franz Wagner out indefinitely with a torn right oblique. And we know Paolo, a couple of weird injuries for the Magic kind of derailing their season so far. But yeah, Brandon Ingram will not be on the court on Thursday when the Kings play the Pelicans, but that doesn't mean that the Pelicans will lay down. Doesn't mean that the Pelicans aren't going to come to play. CJ McCollum, I mean, the guy feels like he shoots 80% against the Kings. It's ridiculous. So the Kings got to be on their P's and Q's and make sure they don't let one slip away out in NOLA. Then they can hang out and enjoy some beignets shortly after that. Jimmy Butler, another name on the horizon. We are getting closer to that danger zone for that guest, so you know how it goes. We might be in the middle of a conversation. Somebody hops in, and we will get to that. So don't go anywhere. Tell your friends, hey, the secret guest is about to come on. I told you, don't go to the bathroom. Don't do anything. Don't move. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The only place you'll find Kevin Herter is Sacktown Sports.
Herter's open, steps into three. He's got the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Herter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We are in the danger zone now. Anything can happen. We are going to just play it cool. Continue to talk about these trades. Continue to talk about these different moves. You can get in your last guesses on who it's going to be. You have Hot Honey Jones, who we just had. We have more nicknames we will get to in a little bit. Not right now, though. On the text line, of course. Could it be Kevin Herter? Could it be Dougie McBuckets, a couple good games from them. Malik Monk, haven't talked to him since his career high in assists. Then he had a career high in rebounds since he's been inserted into the starting lineup. So a lot of different things that can happen here as we get you ready and get you set. What's up, Kyle?
So we had a fun call here from our guy
Okay.
KB, and he wants to throw out a nickname here for Isaac Jones real quick.
Okay.
All right. The name he wants to go with is Big Spurt. Like growth spurt.
Because he had that 2 crazy growth spurts.
Yeah. He wants to go Big Spurt.
En route to the NBA. Big spurt. Okay. I mean, it's not awful.
No, it's not. I will give him credit. That is a clever one because he grew 14 inches between his freshman year of high school and his freshman year of community college. But I still think we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We got to do something other than big blank also. Let's maybe switch it up also.
But
right?
I don't mind. I mean,
but we've heard like 10 of them now. Like big blank is kind of like, I think we got to get a little more creative there.
yeah. How about 530 says, how about just Bones or Hot Wing?
Hot One, I guess, is clever because of the show.
But no. The Big Domino.
We also got to quit with the food joke. There's just a lot of food jokes here.
The Big Domino, because once his shots fall, all the other Kings shots fall around him.
Again, I need the data to back that up. I don't really know if that's true or not.
Isaac Ice Jones. No, yeah. I was going to say, you better not ding that.
No.
It's too wordy. It's too wordy. It's too much ice. Too much ice in the NBA.
Yeah, what happened? He was Hot Honey Jones, and now he's Ice all of a sudden?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody else is saying, yeah, no, we're not even Big Honey. We're just guys. We come on. We're better than this. We're better than this.
Yeah, we have more creative, incredible names like Hot Honey Rub.
Yeah, well, yeah. And we're not taking that anywhere else. Yeah, we're just done with the Hot Honey Rub. And I'm not even going to try to transition that. Jimmy Butler, because I don't want to get in trouble. Jimmy Butler on the trade block, maybe that is the case. Jimmy Butler, there has been a lot going on with Jimmy Butler as far as the Pat Riley stuff. Okay, you had Pat Riley coming out, and when Jimmy was doing a lot of tweeting during the game, if I was out there, this, and Pat Riley, he's old school, man. He doesn't want Twitter fingers. He's not trying to hear all that. He wants you on the court. And he said some stuff that really to kick off the offseason that made us feel like this thing is probably not going to go in the direction of Jimmy being there forever. This is what Shams had to say about Jimmy Butler in that same article. The Heat are open to listening to offers for Jimmy Butler and making a deal if the proposal is right, league sources told ESPN. And Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, has indicated in league circles that Butler is open to destinations such as 2 of the Texas teams, Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks, and the Golden State Warriors. Butler is a native of Houston, Texas. Above all, though, he is believed to prefer a win-now title contender in any trade. Teams have also been informed that Butler intends to opt out of his deal in the offseason and become a free agent, sources said. The Heat have hovered around the play-in tournament over the last 2 seasons, and with Butler's contractual status, they have been open-minded to trade inquiries. So he did not mention the Sacramento Kings. He wants win now or he wants to go home. And maybe he gets to do both if he goes to the Dallas Mavericks and to a lesser degree, the Houston Rockets. They were hot. They're top, 4 team in the West right now. And he throws in the Golden State Warriors because why not? That is his swan song, if you will. Any of these teams become obviously it's just going to be young talent, right? So all of their big 3s and big 4s will stay intact. Kyle, any of these teams become the favorite to win the title if they get Jimmy Butler? Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, or the Golden State Warriors?
I guess it just depends on the trade itself, right? It depends on how we get to Jimmy Butler, but just on the surface level, my instinct is to say no, just because I don't think any of those teams are in a. I guess the Warriors is the one I would stop and say, okay, if you have Steph Curry, you have Jimmy Butler, you have Draymond Green, you, I guess, still have Andrew. No, I guess Wiggins would have to go in the deal. So let's say it's Steph Curry, it's Draymond Green, it's Jimmy Butler, and then your mismatch of Buddy Hields and Kevon Looney's and Trace Jackson Davis's and all that. I guess that one I would say you're closer to a championship than you were before. With Dallas, we talked about this last week just briefly. Like, the fit doesn't make sense, right? Like, why would you want to add Jimmy Butler, whose game is offensively ISO driven and getting to the free throw? Why would you want to add that to an offense that already has Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, right? It doesn't make sense why you would go after Jimmy Butler in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think Houston's further than a Jimmy Butler away from being a championship contender. So I guess the Warriors get the closest of all the teams, but the Dallas one doesn't make sense at all. And the Houston one makes sense in the context of Jimmy Butler is from Houston, and he would be probably the number one scoring option on the Rockets, right? But I guess the question then becomes, can you win a championship with Jimmy Butler as a number one?
Not to me.
I guess the answer would be, or the question would be still, right? Because the Miami Heat came within games of a championship twice going that route. So we'll see.
Player A over 831 games has averaged 18.4 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists on 47% from the field and 33% from three. Player B in 1,130 games has averaged 21.3 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists per game on 46.9% shooting and 29.6% from three. Player A is Jimmy Butler. I know you're good at this. You know who player B is?
Honestly, I might have said player B was Jimmy Butler.
Don't overthink this. Why would I be bringing
DeMar DeRozan?
It is DeMar DeRozan.
Okay. That's kind of where I thought you were going, but I wasn't sure.
It is DeMar DeRozan. And look, we can have, if people want to have a dog conversation, that's fine. Jimmy Butler has dragged some teams to the finals. We get all that. But Jimmy Butler at $48 million, or Jimmy Butler at $48 million at 35 years old versus DeMar DeRozan at $23.4 million at 35 years old. I know Jimmy Butler is a dog on defense, but he is not available very often. Neither of them can really shoot the three ball. And this season, Jimmy Butler has played 17 games. DeMar DeRozan has played 20. Jimmy Butler, 19 points per game, 5 assists, nearly five assists and 5 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan, 20 games with 22.5 points per game, 4 assists per game, and a little more than 4 assists a game. He's still shooting, DeMar, 27.9% from three. Jimmy is shooting 36% from three. I don't know how many attempts that's on. Jimmy shooting 55% from the field, and DeMar shooting 50% from the field. So DeMar has been scoring more. Jimmy's been a tad more efficient, but Jimmy has played in 3 less games, and they both missed games. So I understand the Jimmy thing, but if anybody has listened to the show before, you know I'm not that high on Jimmy Butler. And to your point, Kyle, to me, asking if a team can win with Jimmy Butler as their first option is pretty darn similar to asking if a team can win with DeMar DeRozan as their first option. It's similar.
Sort of. I would disagree in the sense that it's only been 2 years ago that we were talking about Jimmy Butler being the number one on a team that got to an NBA Finals, right? It's only 18 months ago that Jimmy Butler was the number one on a team that got to the NBA Finals. Whereas for DeRozan, it was like 2018 was the last time that we were talking about DeRozan as the number one. So it's interesting. I guess in that sense, then putting him on the Warriors gives them at least a puncher's chance at winning the finals, because then he would be the number two. But that doesn't necessarily guarantee them to be the champion out of the West.
Right. It's either the Warriors or the Mavericks, because you got Kyrie, you got Luka, you got Jimmy Butler. Okay. And assuming they keep Clay, all right. You know, that you have to put them in that conversation, whether they get it done or not. Who knows? 279 says, tell Styles stop glossing over Jimmy Butler. I don't know if you mean glossing as in glazing, because I'm not a Jimmy Butler guy, or are you saying that I should be higher on Jimmy Butler? Got to clarify. 279. We are still, I just got word, Kings are finishing practice soon. So if you're hanging on for the secret special Sacramento Kings segment, don't go anywhere. They are finishing up practice. We're going to get somebody. We'll figure out who it is very shortly. And we continue the conversation about luxury tax and different things that the Kings can do to be competitive in the West. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Looks like you made the ice list this year.
Santa, don't you mean the nice list?
No, ice, because Prestigio Jewelers carries all the ice you need.
For over 30 years, Prestigio Jewelers has offered in-house financing and fine jewelry. Guaranteed credit approval between $400 and $10,000 with no money down options. Make this Christmas season unforgettable. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. With locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno, or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPfest.com. It's Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Good Guys Heating and Cooling. Find out more at CITPfest.com.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
I'm Craig Ashton with the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. It may sound contradictory for a personal injury firm to wish you a safe holiday season, but we at Ashton & Price wish that no one has to suffer an injury in an automobile collision. But if you're an accident injury victim, you can lean on Ashton & Price to do all the legal legwork. They introduce you to the best medical care providers in the area, so during this holiday season, you can focus on your health and your family. So from all of us at Ashton & Price, we advise you to have the happiest and safest of holidays.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Ba, 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 ba. Yep, 'tis the season. Hey, if you take pride in your gift giving, here's a great idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift from the Good Feet store. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question.
Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We are on surprise guest watch. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Go. There we go. And the conversations that we've been having with the trade generator based on the article that Shams dropped. Look, there are a lot of different options that can go down. And the reality is the Kings are a bit strapped, a little bit, based on the type of money that they want to spend. Right. And I know the saying goes, we heard the saying, scared money don't make no money. And basically the breakdown here is if you're under the luxury tax, you get a split of that luxury tax revenue, even if it's just by $1, right? So that is part of the reason. I wouldn't say the main reason, but that's part of the reason that the Kings haven't wanted to go over that tax. So the question then becomes a little bit chicken or the egg. Do you want to go over the luxury tax to create a contender, or should you only go over the luxury tax if you think that that would make you a contender? Because then you're going to miss out on that revenue, and we know the aprons and what happens after that. So that has been when people have called in. I think we had a caller last week that said, hey, what's up with Vivek and the luxury tax and spending money, and how is he approaching all this? I think the push-pull is you want to spend, you're not, it's not that you're unwilling to spend the money. You want to spend the money if you think you have a team that can contend. The other part of that is, well, you have to spend money in order to put your team in a position to contend. And that is what the Kings are dealing with right now. And that goes back to what we were talking about yesterday with Ramsey, who did a great job in Kyle's absence. That is the conversation of, all right, this team is good enough, or this team isn't good enough yet. Right. And the team, it's a pay to play league. It's a pay to play league. And are the Kings in a position to do that? Right. I don't know. Depends on who you ask. If I were the Kings, are you going into and I don't, off the top of my head, are you going into the luxury tax for Cam Johnson? Maybe that's not worth it to Vivek. Right. And the ages, that's what we were talking about yesterday. The ages of De'Aaron being 26, Domantas Sabonis being 27, 28, Malik Monk being 26, who you just locked in. Yes, DeMar DeRozan is a little bit not past his prime, but age-wise, that doesn't line up exactly the same. And you have Keegan Murray, who hasn't hit his prime yet. You could say, if the main thing is, how much do you believe that De'Aaron Fox is happy and De'Aaron Fox is going to resign? Because if De'Aaron Fox, you feel like he's going to resign, then you could sit there and say, everybody's about to hit their prime. Look, if we turn a corner and we get close and we exceed expectations, because let's not forget, a lot of expectations were just that the Kings were going to be in the play-in, right? So if the Kings get to the playoffs, maybe get to a second round or have another really competitive first round, then I think it's okay. Let's go. Now we know why we're going into the luxury tax, right? A lot of these, you take parents, for example, and stuff that they're spending their money on. Okay. If I had to go to my parents and I said, hey, I want this bat. All right. They would say, well, why can't I get you this $60 bat from Big Five? And I would have to explain to them, well, this bat is better for these reasons. That's why it's $120. Now they would still get me the bat from Big Five, but I did explain to them why I wanted the bat. A lot of these, again, going back to parents, you want to pay for your kid to go to private school. You want to know why you're paying for private school and what exactly is it that your kid is going to get that they are not going to get at other schools. So if you're Mr. Vivek Ranadive, it's not that I'm unwilling to go into the luxury tax, but I'm going into the luxury tax to be a second round out. Now, this has happened with other teams, but they've already been, that's them just not playing as well as they should. That's them underachieving.
Yeah, that's Phoenix last year with injuries.
Exactly.
You
don't go into the luxury tax hoping to get to the second round. That's not what anybody does. You're in the luxury tax because you think you're going to win the whole thing, and then maybe you fall short. So he's not going to enter the luxury tax for Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith unless they think that is going to put them in a position to win the whole thing. That's where we're at right now with the money and how I look at it as far as what I would do if it was my money. And it's not. But what I would do if it was my money.
Yeah, and this is the interesting part about the new luxury tax rules with the NBA, where it's like, if you're going to go into the first apron, you're better off going, in terms of competitive standpoint, you have to foot a bill, obviously, but you're better off going all the way up to $1 before the second apron than you are just sitting $2 million over the first apron. So this is the fine line that the Kings are figuring out right now. And honestly, the difference between Kyle Kuzma and Dorian Finney-Smith might be, there might be some upgrade there, but you have to then weigh at what cost are we making that upgrade between the same exact trade package for Kyle Kuzma or the same exact trade package for Dorian Finney-Smith, the two of which make about $9 million different than each other.
916-339-1140. Let's get to Ken. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Ken? What you got for us?
I just had a couple ideas for Isaac's nickname. Seeing that he worked on the docks. How about Teamster or Longshoreman?
What was the first one?
Teamster. Longshoreman.
Okay.
I like Longshoreman. That's good.
I like that, Ken. Thanks for the call. Is that it? That's all you had?
That's it.
All right. Thanks for the call, Ken. Longshoreman because he worked on the dock.
I don't think he actually worked on the dock, but I just like the nickname.
He was close to the dock. He worked somewhere. I thought it was piping or something.
Yeah, it was a piping company.
By a dock.
But I just like the nickname Longshoreman. No one in the NBA is nicknamed Longshoreman. You got Big Honeys and Big Jones and all that stuff.
How about Big Shoreman? I don't have anything. I was going to try to cook up something else.
To Ken's point, it has nothing to do with his other job. I just like Longshoreman. That's just great.
Okay.
But I think we still don't have a winner yet. We had a caller, Jeff, I believe, who threw out Semi Jones because he's big like a semi truck, I believe was the explanation.
Yeah. Come on. That was off. So people are calling you because I can see you.
Yeah.
So people are calling you, giving you names, and just dropping.
Yes. Which I appreciate. I will take them and share them on the air. It's just same phone number. You can text it. Alan can see them. Anyway, people feel free to call in with your ideas if you want. It's just
but if they're good.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying that.
If you call in, it's obviously it takes more of my time to listen to you and to explain it, but Just text us, 916-339-1140. Just throw as many ideas as you have out there. We're getting closer now.
Big Jones in. Didn't we hear that last week?
I don't know if we should say that on the air, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Sack Jones. Like
gotta screen these a little better, Alan. You gotta be careful.
Well, I'm Sacramento. Warehouse Jones. Yeah, we're done here. We're done. All right. On the other side, we continue the conversation. We're getting close. We're getting close to that surprise Sacramento guest. They're finishing up practice now. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Shriners Children's Northern California, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
Making an Impact, sponsored by Grainger. For the average person, running a half marathon can be difficult. Well, don't tell that to 65-year-old Denise Hall, who just completed her 100th.
Even though I don't feel like it, when my alarm goes off, 4:15, I know I'll feel much better after I run.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers professional-grade supplies and solutions made for every industry and backed by product experts. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
How was your job to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting their focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Here comes Floyd, throw over the middle, intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Be there December 12th for Thursday Night Football at Levi Stadium as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams.
20, one block and he's in.
This battle of NFC West rivals is presented by Rakuten.
Touchdown!
Tickets are available now. Secure your seats today at 49ers.com/tickets.
San Francisco!
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
This is what happens when the Kings only play twice in feels like 2 weeks. Play Thursday. We play on Monday after that. You get people just trying to come up with the craziest stuff. And I think Kings fans, I think some of you listeners are getting a little delusional with what you're bringing up. Double A, because he provides a charge. Can't do it. Can't do it. How about this one? Big Rig Jones from the 916. I think, okay.
No, we're not calling a grown man Big Rig.
Big Rig Jones seems like somebody from a biker crew you really don't want to mess with.
Like a Hell's Angel situation.
Yeah, but in the movie, his daughter is the love interest, and the protagonist wants to date the daughter, and they say, You gotta go talk to Big Rig Jones about that.
Okay, so who's your actor who's playing Big Rig Jones?
Man, there are a couple of big rigs out there that could be Big Rig Jones, but I'll leave it to everyone's imagination.
Sure, we'll throw it out there. We had a caller call in with Journeyman Jones.
No.
Even though he's a rookie?
We are still waiting to hear back on the super secret surprise Sacramento guest. I don't know. Might feel like Coach Mike Brown might be a longer practice than normal. They do have a couple days off, so that could be part of the reason for that. You have the 916 Big Newton, a play on Isaac Newton and Fig Newton. 916, let me ask you this question. Why? What are we doing? What's up, Kyle?
I think in the next 10 minutes, we might be having our guest. I know who it is now, but you
know who it is.
I know who it is, but I don't know if you know who it is yet.
I don't. Maybe Jay will tell me.
All right.
But I don't know who it is yet.
Looking at sometime in the next 10 minutes, hopefully.
Okay. Sometime in the next 10 minutes, we will get that super secret surprise guest here. And as we continue to read these terrible nicknames, this is from Evan Sittery, who was on with the Drive Guys, I believe last week. The Nets trade market for Cam Johnson appears significant. This is what I'm talking about. Listen to all these teams. Again, it's not that the whole the Kings thing is real or not real. I'm just saying there are a lot of teams involved. Does this make you feel better or worse about the situation? This is from Evan Sittery. The Nets trade market for Cam Johnson appears significant. The Grizzlies, Magic, Kings, Lakers, and Warriors are among the contending teams who have checked in with the Nets on their sharpshooting wing. If Brooklyn trades Johnson, they have the market to get what they desire. That's not good. That is not good as far as price tags are concerned. I don't love that at all. I'm not surprised, but I don't love that at all. That's 6 teams that Evan Sittery is reporting. 6 teams. Kings are one of those teams, but you got the Warriors. We just talked about the bidding war between the Kings and the Warriors for the Nets and their crew. But you got the Lakers, the Magic, and the Grizzlies. All of which have assets. Okay? The Grizzlies have assets. The Magic have assets. The Kings do have assets, depending on what they want to use. What's the value for Cam Johnson? We're about to find out, because that's 6 teams. I see, to me, I'm still in the camp of Warriors and to a lesser degree, the Lakers. I think the Lakers and Warriors are going to drop simply because I just think they want to splash. Their timelines are a little bit different. Cam Johnson, I believe he's 28 years old, right in the middle of his prime. But for what the Nets are going to be able to command, the Lakers cannot put themselves in a bad spot for a guy who, if Cam Johnson was on the Lakers tomorrow, are they winning the whole thing? I don't think so.
No, but I don't always think that's necessarily the reason to make a trade, right? You don't always just make a trade just for the sake of, well, if we make this trade, we're now competing.
When you have 58-year-old LeBron, you do.
Yeah, but is there any trade the Lakers could make? that would put them in a position where you say they are a top 3 contender in the Western Conference?
What if they got Trae Young?
Yeah, if they got Trae Young, sure, but Trae Young's not going to be traded.
We don't know that.
He's not going to get traded before the deadline, right? That seems highly, highly unlikely.
So I think it's interesting the Grizzlies are involved because they went with Zach Edey in the draft because they stunk last season. So they go with Zach Edey, and they're young, man. They're young. I mean, Cam Johnson might be one of the older guys on that team. He's 28, 29 years old. He might be one of the older guys on that team. They have assets. I mean, that's a GG. If you're a Nets, can you imagine GG Jackson and Cam Thomas on the same team?
That would be whew. Yeah. That would be the only other person we would need is who's the guy who just went to the Hawks, who used to be David Roddy. If you get Roddy, right, like those 3 together would just be the all summer league all-stars.
So those are 6 teams that are checking in on Cam Johnson. I'm sure the names are going to continue to come out. We're also seeing from Anthony Irwin, Rob Pelinka is expected to check on Jonas Valanciunas in 5 days. That would move Anthony Davis to the 4. The quote is, league sources believe Pelinka will check in on the price for Valanciunas on December 15th when he becomes trade eligible. And belief around the league is that the Washington Wizards will be open to those conversations. Yeah. And the deciding factor will be whether LA, wants to meet that price tag. So it just all happened so fast. And I know there were a lot of deals last season. There were a couple big deals last season with Pascal Siakam and OG, but I do feel like the amount wasn't that high. There wasn't a lot of deals that were made. Just off the top of my head, there was a lot of talk. And this is the year where a lot of these guys who didn't move last season will now be moved. I know the Raptors did that for about 2 to 3 seasons with the package of OG and Pascal, but the Jeremy Grant, I'm sure we'll hear about Jeremy Grant soon. His name was brought up in the Shams piece. So a lot of these teams are looking to finally move off of that talent that they've held on to. From the 925, I think this is a double agent here. From the 925, this might be a triple agent because you got a 925 number, but it might be a Lakers fan. I don't know, 925. You got to identify yourself. This is what the 925 says. Fox to the Lakers for Dalton Connect, Hachimura, Vanderbilt, come on, who never plays. When Carter comes back, he's a starting point guard. 925, come on. Are you a double A? You're not a Kings fan. Show yourself. Show yourself. That's crazy. And I like Dalton Connect. And I like Rui Hachimura. But you lost me with Vanderbilt, and you lost me with Carter is starting PG when he comes back. Guy hasn't played in the NBA yet. It's De'Aaron Fox. He's top 10 in scoring right now. 925, you sound like a double
that was
agent.
for De'Aaron Fox?
Yes.
Oh, well, no. No. I thought you were talking about for like a Trae Young or something like that. Like that's the package that they'd be working with probably. But honestly, at this point, like Dalton Connect's on a 4-year affordable contract. Mm-hmm. Like he's in that space where I don't think they would want to move off of him unless it's for like a real number 3 option, like a top 30 caliber player in the league. I'm not saying that Dalton Connect has the ceiling of being a top 30 player, but when you're a team that has a super max contract for LeBron James and a super max for Anthony Davis, you kind of got to pick your spots sometimes about where you make trades.
Yeah. So that's a no-go for me. 925. I'm actually upset I read that on the air. We're done with that. And the SAC chat, if anybody is in the SAC chat right now or headed to the SAC chat, just beware. It is a mess right now with these nicknames. It's all over the place. I do have word though. Kyle was trying to hold out on me, but I know who it is. And they are coming up very, very soon. Our secret Sacramento surprise guest will join us very shortly. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the three-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free, explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Get huge year-end savings on the all-new 2025 Silverado now at Maida Chevy.
With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on select new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT and RST.
And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area.
$8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available. Special financing lease in some of the Ruffles.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. It's Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Good Guys Heating and Cooling. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. The winter months bring joy, but also with more rain and snow, unfortunately, more accidents. Over the last quarter century, thousands of Northern California residents have looked to Ashton & Price to be their root op with a law license to guide them through the storm of an injury claim. As always, we wish you and your family the safest and happiest of holidays. But if you need us, at Ashton & Price, we're here for you. So whether you've been naughty or nice, happiest holidays from Ashton &
For the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
KHTK-HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Got any last-second guesses for who will be joining us very, very shortly? Kyle is working back there to get it done. Last-second guesses. I'm not going to reveal it yet. Because I love it. I love all the guests coming in. I love everybody trying to figure out exactly who it's going to be. It's going to be fun. I will say this. I was right again. Okay, one of my guesses. I only put out one or two.
One of your 6 guesses.
One of my 18 guesses. Yes, that's correct. I was right, and they will be joining us shortly. And people are still at it with the nicknames. I think y'all are just trolling me at this point. I think y'all are just trolling me, but we love it. We appreciate it. Another name that has come up in conversations as we await. I almost said the name right there. I almost said it as we await our secret Sacramento super guest. Another name is a name that we have mentioned before, and that is one Kyle Kuzma. And Kyle Kuzma is a guy who, by the way, before we start talking about Kyle Kuzma and the Wizards, has anybody else seen the Jordan Poole drowning in the pool 3-point celebration? I have defended Jordan Poole since my time in the Bay, and that's terrible. That's terrible. And the way he does it, it's almost like it was a bet. Somebody is making him do it. He's been playing much better this season. But Jordan Poole, the drowning in the pool celebration, it's rough. It is rough, and I don't know how long that one is going to last. He puts his, he covers his nose and he puts his hands in the air as if he's wailing in the pool. I don't think that one is going to last very long. But yeah, he did the celebration against the Nuggets a couple days ago. As far as Kyle Kuzma is concerned, it's gotten to a point now where I think people in Sacramento are just so kind of sick of that conversation, because you were going to get him, you weren't going to get him, and now he's on a team that's just historically bad. They said that those magic words last season, don't be that team. That's what the Wizards said about the Pistons, and now the Wizards are that team. They're terrible. Kyle Kuzma, you can't convince anybody you're there to build a winner. If you want to just be honest and say you don't care, then just say that, but nobody is buying it. Nobody's buying it. At least I'm not buying it. So,
yeah, I wonder what their record is since that whole tweet that Kyle Kuzma said of "don't be that team to lose to the Pistons," because it's got to be like 17-70 or something like that. Like, they've got to be real bad ever since that happened.
Yeah. It can't be great. I'm continuing to read these.
Well, I've got bad news for you on the mystery surprise guest. Our digital team spoiled it for us. So the digital team may have put out who the guest is going to be. So I think the secret may not be a secret so much anymore.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm still not going to spoil it. I'm going to keep teasing it until if that's a plug to go follow Sacktown Sports on social media, on X, on Twitter. So if you want to see who it is, somebody is going to leak it, but I'm not going to leak it. I'm going to stay strong here. But Kyle Kuzma, to me, the conversations, they've happened and they've happened and they've happened and they've happened. And I'll be honest with you. I thought I watched more Kyle Kuzma last season than I have this season. He's dealt with some injuries. Last season I was adding DeMar DeRozan. I don't think they're the same player, but I'd have to take a look at the contract situation and honestly, just what is it that Kyle Kuzma wants? He's been pretty open on Twitter about, and guys, and there's no issue, but he likes to talk. He likes to talk about a lot of stuff or a lot of things on Twitter. He's not doing the outfits anymore. I just don't really know where his head is at. And when you play on such a bad team, nobody's really watching you. So I think there are certain situations where teams play it correctly. I would say that the Nets played it beautifully with Mikal Bridges. I think the Raptors played it correctly with OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. I don't know if the Blazers played it correctly with Jeremy Grant, but I'm pretty sure the Wizards did not play it correctly with Kyle Kuzma. It feels like if they were going to make that move, last season would have been better. The team was a little bit more respectable than they are right now. Kyle Kuzma played in more games. It just seems like they waited a little bit too long. And you don't have to wait long or any longer. We are now joined by the man, the myth himself, Doug McDermott, a.k.a. Dougie McBuckets. Doug, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Doug, let's start here. So last week we had on Isaac Jones. And everybody, we tried to get him a nickname. It's gone in a crazy direction, Doug. And with that being said, we all know, or we all just know your nickname, Dougie McBuckets. Where did that one come from? It seems so obvious, but how far did you get in your basketball career until somebody said, this is a very obvious nickname, we're going to rock and roll with it?
I think it was my sophomore year of college at Creighton. We were kind of starting to come onto the scene a little bit. We were playing some bigger teams, and I think it was like a sports writer for CBS or something started tweeting it. I want to say it was Matt Norlander is the one that originally started it, and then it kind of just took off from there, and it really hasn't stopped since.
There you go. Well, and while we'll get into, don't worry, we'll get into some serious basketball talk, but real quick, playing Teach Me, you have the Dougie McBuckets thing, then Teach Me How to Dougie after the made bucket. I got, you can admit it, there's no way Kings are the first ones to do that after you make a bucket, or are they?
Chicago messed with it a little early in my career. I think my second year in Chicago, they did it, and I don't know. At the time, I didn't like it. I think I was just still a kid and just didn't want the attention. And now it's like, it's kind of fun. I mean, the crowd really embraces it. I've been so impressed with how long the crowd sticks around in Sacramento. I mean, we were up 30 points the other night, and it was still a full house. So, I mean, it's much appreciated from us players that are on the floor to close the game. And it's always cool to hear that. And the chants were awesome, too.
Well, speaking of the crowd, Doug, you led me to somewhere I was going to go anyway. When you lit the beam, you had your first opportunity to light the beam, and you were getting interviewed by Scott Moak. You said, hey, this is the best city that you've played in. Now, you can be honest, Doug, it's just me and you here chatting. Were you just buttering up the city, or did you mean it? You love Sacramento like that?
I love it. I mean, I truly do love it. And I mean, I was talking about the fans mainly. I mean, just the support that we get every single night is crazy. And, you know, I've played on 6 other teams, and I've never seen a crowd stick around that long, even in a blowout like that. And I think that's why lighting the beam is so cool for not just us, but our whole community, because you can tell everyone takes a lot of pride in it. So to have, 16, 17,000 fans still around when, we're playing Utah, and I forgot what night it was, but I mean, it just, everyone was there super late, and it was just awesome to experience.
Talking to Doug McDermott, sharpshooter for your Sacramento Kings. Doug, let's take things to the court. How is the vibe of the team right now? Like you said, you've played on 6 different teams, and I'm sure each team had different expectations every season. You join the Sacramento Kings, who they're looking to make some moves this season, and things have been shaky. There have been some injuries. You move Malik into the starting lineup. Kevin Huerter's been balling coming off the bench. How is the vibe of the team as you've now won 2 straight, 3 out of 4? And I don't know if you've heard, Doug, but the Pelicans kind of had the Kings number last season. So how's the vibe of the team right now?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's already talking about that, how they had us last year. And, I think we're definitely motivated heading down there. We've obviously had a good little break here to work on ourselves. We had a couple practice days lined up, and then don't have another game till Monday. So we got to leave it all out there when we get to New Orleans. And we know how important every game is for us because we didn't get off to the greatest start, like you said, with some injuries and things and getting used to each other. But, it's go time. We're just focused on winning, and that's all that matters right now.
So when we're doing the show, Doug, we sit there and we talk about Malik in the starting lineup, and we talk about Kevin Huerter's ability to be flexible and really ball out coming off of the bench. When you guys are talking internally about the biggest difference in these last couple games where you've put up 140 points for the first time in consecutive games since 1963. Is there more to what fans and what media is seeing as far as the difference in the games, or is it pretty cut and dry?
I mean, it helps when you make shots. That's always the key is, hitting threes. And, we've really improved our just ability to get in the lane and find each other. We take a lot of pride in, spray out threes and getting in the paint, forcing the defender to help. And those threes are a lot easier to hit. So that's kind of been our main emphasis when we've gone through this little slump is just make the extra pass, get everyone involved, and don't be afraid to get out and run and not have to slow it down every time. We're trying to really push the pace and get easy shots for each other. And I think that's something that we've done a lot better job of lately.
Do you, and I know you've been in a lot of locker rooms, do teams have the, hey, we've turned a corner conversation internally, or is that more of an external media thing and it's just, hey, just game by game? And I know you saw Coach Mike Brown's post-game presser after possession after possession. Is that really how you approach things, or is there any talk of, hey, guys, the vibes are starting, we're starting to turn things around here?
Not really. I mean, everyone's obviously in a better mood when you're winning. But, a lot of us here have been in the league long enough that you really can't get too high or too low because the next one's coming and usually a day or the next day. So you can get humbled really quick if you get too high on yourself and vice versa. So just try and continue to get better every day. I mean, I know that's cliche and something Coach Brown says is possession by possession. And it is true. You got to kind of have that mindset in the NBA, but obviously the vibes are better when we're winning and, guys are really getting along. This is a really good group of guys. There's no one's selfish. Everyone's for each other and just a really good group to be around.
Doug, before we get you out of here, that fateful night where you were on fire, 6 for 7, I think we heard Teach Me How to Dougie 8,000 times. According to StatHead, you're just the second player in NBA history to score 18 or more points in less than 9 minutes of action. When is the last time you had a moment like that, or is there anything you can compare it to? Take us through what you were feeling in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stat for everything, I guess. That's crazy. But I don't know. I mean, I work extremely hard every day. I definitely felt that before, not 6 straight threes, but I felt in that zone where you hit 3 or 4 and, the other team calls a timeout. But it was kind of like towards the end of the game, so there wasn't any timeouts from Utah or like Will Hardy just because we were up 30 or 40 points, wherever it was. So I've never really felt it that crazy where you get, 6, 7, 8 possessions in a row where the ball is coming your way and like you're letting it fly. Usually there's a timeout after you hit your second one and try to take you out of your rhythm. But just a really cool feeling. We work really hard here in SAC. We got a group of guys that are always playing games, even when we're not playing. So that's kind of helped me get my rhythm here and get my legs under me as I joined the team pretty late into training camp.
Doug McDermott, thank you so much, a.k.a. Dougie McBuckets. Doug, appreciate you taking the time. Safe travels down in NOLA. Stay hot down there in NOLA, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, we'll do. I appreciate it.
That was Doug McDermott, the sharpshooter for your Sacramento Kings. Great stuff right there, Kyle. I mean, that's just amazing, and thank you, Kyle, for connecting all that, getting that all hooked up. Thank you to the Sacramento Kings PR for organizing that. Jay Johnson, obviously, getting it done as he does. And, I heard Doug say it, and I quoted him when he said it, when he was lighting a beam talking about the city and the fans. It's very clear that Doug McDermott, a lot of players will say things and, oh, we're excited. I'm excited to be here. Like when you go to a concert. Oh, Sacramento, you're the loudest city I've ever been to. So we're kind of accustomed to hearing stuff like that, and they say it in every city. But I really do believe Doug McDermott, and I think the biggest thing is him talking about different games and blowouts and how, hey, fans are sick. He would know. You know what I mean? He's been on 6 different teams. He would know. He's comparing the Sacramento fans to all the other teams he's been on. And let's see here, Kyle, I'm checking. He was with Chicago. He was with OKC. He was with the Knicks. Okay. He was with Dallas. He was with Indiana, San Antonio. So basically Sacramento's a better basketball city than all those teams.
Yes. Put it on the headline. Sacramento is a better basketball city than New York.
He was with New York. Yes. For 55 games. All right. So he was in the Garden. He was in Chicago. Indiana, okay, San Antonio, doesn't matter. He's at Dallas as well.
To his point, I mean, they pulled the starters at 8:22 left in the game, and if you stuck around, you got a show because Doug hit. I mean, the stat was crazy that you brought up, but he hit 6 3-pointers in, I believe it was 5 minutes and 26 seconds from when he checked on the floor to when he hit the 6th 3. It was crazy.
There you go. Well, thanks again to Doug McDermott and everybody that is doing their thing to organize that for us. Can't wait for our next super secret surprise guest. This one is no surprise. Chris Biederman joins us in about 1 minute to talk Kings and Niners. And then we discuss everything that Dougie McBuckets had to say. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Thursday night, Kings and Pelicans. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sacktown Sports 1140.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th, so call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Thanks again to Doug McDermott. Kyle is working overtime there. I believe we're going to get Chris Biederman. Chris Biederman is ready. Chris Biederman is on StreamYard. That's what's going on. We got video with Chris Biederman. Okay, he is legit. We all know that from the Sacramento Bee. Chris Biederman, thank you so much for joining us. Chris, all right, Chris, before we get into any, hardcore Kings and Niners, Chris, obviously everybody loves Friday the most. What is your least favorite day of the week?
Man, I hate to say Tuesday because it is Tuesday, and this has nothing to do with coming on the show today. But I think Tuesday, because Monday you get an opportunity to, you're still kind of living off the weekend, and if you're into football, you get to maybe dive in a little bit further into what happened in Sunday's game. Tuesday, you're a little bit removed from that, and obviously you got a long week ahead when it's Tuesday. So I think I'll say Tuesday.
I think you're spot on. This is why me and you, man, I can't stand Tuesday, but you're making it better. You're making it better, and normally tacos make it better. And some people put Tapatio on their tacos, Chris, and we're calling this a Tapatio Tuesday because it's spicy with all the trade talk. Kings have won 3 out of 4, and they've won 2 in a row, even though it was against the Spurs, who were missing Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama, and the Jazz aren't very good. We've been talking a lot about the balance between what happens if this team gets hot and how Monty McNair should treat the team getting hot versus what he thinks the team is going to be. How should the Kings approach the trade deadline as Shams drops that crazy article today on ESPN?
Yeah, I think depth is going to be a primary focus. I don't know that there's a move out there that like shaking up the core is not something that I see happening. But if it comes to trading future draft capital for depth pieces and people you can credibly bring off the bench, so you're not getting outscored by 45 points from your reserves like you did last week in Memphis, I think that would make the most sense. Look, like, I was with the Kings in Memphis and San Antonio and talking to people. They were cautiously optimistic that the offensive stuff was going to start coming around. And even specifically before the San Antonio game, I was talking to a couple of people with the team who said, like, they're still trying to figure this thing out with the new offensive personnel. But the fact that, like the wins and loss record being what it is was obviously the most important thing. But this is a team that's still 6th in offense right now. And to be 6th in offense and be one of the worst, or at least a bottom 10 3-point shooting team by most metrics, would indicate that there's still plenty of upside there. There's a lot of meat on that bone for them. And when the shots start falling, which they have against San Antonio and Utah, then you see signs of, why the team would be optimistic about what they are offensively. So I don't know that they really need to dramatically overhaul the roster. I think adding to their depth would make a lot of sense. And if they start hitting more threes, I don't know if you want me to go through this, but like they've had a bunch of guys just missing a ton of wide open threes this year. And once those shots start falling and that rate normalizes a little bit, I would imagine we're going to see them win a lot more games than they have early on.
Talking to Chris Biederman, the Sacramento Bee. Yeah, and I think that's really the question of the Cam Johnsons of the world, the Dorian Finney-Smiths, these names that we keep hearing, based on what that price tag is going to be. Do the Kings, is that still considered a small move? And I'm air quoting if you're in the car here. Is that considered a small move because there's 6 other teams involved and that price tag is going to get driven up? So that is what we're going to find out here, I think, in the next couple weeks to a month, talking to Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee. From what you're seeing, Chris, and the crazy Malik Monk numbers, it's not that the Kings have been winning every game. They're 3-2 since adding Malik into the starting lineup, but 140 points the last couple of games. They haven't done that since the 60s. Malik Monk, his numbers have been crazy. Assist numbers cooled off the last couple of nights, but they were blowouts. Is what they're doing sustainable with Kevin Huerter getting to around 14, 15 points off the bench, and Malik Monk, this high usage for Malik Monk? Do you think what they're doing right now, the current setup, is sustainable?
Well, they're not going to play the Jazz every night, and they're not going to play the Spurs missing, arguably, or 2 their best players every night. So I do think their opponents certainly factored in, but like I said, like I can, go into, like, Keegan Murray is shooting I think 17% on open threes this year, right? And like that's De'Aaron Fox is shooting 30% on open threes, and I think Kevin Huerter is at 27% on open threes. And Huerter and Fox are getting 3 open threes a game. And if you look at these games that the Kings are losing by single digits, if they hit a couple more of those shots, then those losses could potentially turn into wins. And I know Mike Brown doesn't really want to talk about that because his prerogative is going to be talking about defense, and I fully get that because the Kings have not. I mean, they're a decent defensive team numbers wise, but over the years, defense is where they've needed to make the biggest strides for sure. But I do think that what they're doing right now could be sustainable if the shots start falling, and if the guys offensively get into more of a rhythm, because I do think DeMar DeRozan threw a wrench into things, not necessarily in a bad way, but like I mentioned earlier, they're still trying to figure out how to optimize everybody. Because they're not running the same offense that they ran in 2022, right? Like this, it's not. It just looks dramatically different because you have somebody else who's not Harrison Barnes posting up in the corner and being an outlet for catch and shoot shots. You have another creator in DeMar DeRozan who occupies a lot of oxygen within the offense, and so they're still adjusting to that, and they're missing a ton of open shots. And the lack of depth is highlighted when I think the threes aren't falling. So if they can start hitting shots commensurate with, how we know Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray can shoot, then I think they're going to start winning more games. And when it comes to, making a move in the West in terms of avoiding the play-in and maybe winning a first-round playoff series, I do think you need 1 or 2 more guys who can play in high leverage situations if your goal is to win a playoff series and advance into May. Because right now I'm not sure the Kings can do that, but I do think even if they hold pat and don't make any moves in the short term, they can win more games just by hitting more shots, which sounds simplistic, but I think it's true.
Yeah, and before we get you out of here, Chris, real quick, and I don't want to hold you too much. Are the Niners done? Are they done? Are they done?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at ESPN's projection model. They're 11% to make the playoffs right now.
11. So is the path obviously just so it's win and help now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, they have to win out and get a lot of help. So I don't think it's the idea of them winning out isn't completely insane to me. I think what's more difficult is probably getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
Because and look, winning out is going to be difficult. We don't know when Nick Bosa is coming back. We don't know when Trent Williams is coming back. If those guys come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the running back situation is going to look like. Maybe we have a little bit of clarity later today when Kyle Shanahan talks. But I don't think it's crazy that they go on a run, and I wouldn't even think it's crazy if they beat the Lions on Monday Night Football in a couple weeks. But I just think 11%. They need so much help. There's so many teams ahead of them. They're probably not going to win the division. It just seems like a highly unlikely scenario at this point.
Chris Biederman, well, it is likely that you will be back because you always do a great job. Thank you so much, Chris Biederman. Go check out all of his work for the Sacramento Bee. Follow him on X. Follow him on social media. Chris, we will talk to you again soon. Enjoy your Tuesday. I know it's tough, but we're going to get through it, Chris. We'll talk to you soon.
We will. Thanks, man. Appreciate you as always.
Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee. Always a good time and great stuff to chat about. On the other side, we get back to the Kings and Dougie McBuckets. Can the Kings turn the corner as presently constructed? Is it that simple? Dougie McBuckets said, just make shots. Chris Biederman said, just make shots. If they just make shots, do we even have to make a trade? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by San Francisco 49ers.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is Tuesday, and we're looking at some gray skies that will eventually start to lift to partly sunny conditions for the afternoon. Daytime highs a little bit lower than yesterday with highs in the upper 50s. Expect overnight lows in the 40s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
This report is brought to you by the San Francisco 49ers. Be there December 12th for Thursday Night Football at Levi's Stadium as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. This battle of NFC West rivals is presented by Rakuten. Tickets are available at 49ers.com/tickets.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper. As the proud sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew, Alsco Uniforms offers certified hygienically clean lab coats, scrubs, bed linens, towels, floor mats, and an array of mops tailored for your healthcare facility. Our services include convenient delivery to your doorstep. Leading the way in healthcare laundry services in Northern California, discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Holidays at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is expanding. I guess you could say the Super Shop is getting more silverer. That means more for you, more apparel, more equipment, more shoes, more gift ideas, more of everything you want. If you're looking for the right gift for the golfer in your life, let the friendly team of Hagen Oaks experts help you find the perfect gift. From golf bags to golf balls, from golf pants to golf shirts, from rain gear to golf gloves, Hagen Oaks has it all. And much is on sale. Visit the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Rare Shop, Fulton Avenue at Business 80, or find us at HagenOaks.com.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Merry Christmas from Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and we're still celebrating Black Friday all month long. When buying a car, getting a good deal, it's kind of the easy part. Where Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram really sets themselves apart from anywhere else is the experience, from sales to service and everything in between. It's why so many people keep coming back to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's because it's the place where a handshake still means something. And if you've been wanting to experience that Jeep life, there's no better time than now. SacSuperstore.com, located off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Teach me how. Teach me how to Dougie. As far as the Dougie is concerned, it did last. It lasted pretty long. It lasted for a while.
Yeah.
Because it got turned into other dances. The Dougie still gets done on TikTok. The song doesn't really get played, but it's still a part of it's a dance. It's just a normal dance move.
Yeah, I think it's like 16 years old now.
Yeah,
I think that the Teach Me How to Dougie song is like 15 or 16 years old now.
It crossed over into just being a dance move, and it gets added to all these other new age dances that get done. Dougie McBuckets, Doug McDermott. It is going to be up on YouTube very shortly if it isn't already as a separate segment, but you can rewind and go backwards on YouTube if you missed it. It's on the Sacktown Sports app, and it'll be on Twitter shortly as well. Great stuff from Doug McDermott, and he said it's the best city he's played in as it comes to the fans, right? And as far as the fans are concerned, best city he's played in. He's played in New York. He's played in San Antonio. He's played in Dallas. He's played in Chicago, right? So everybody should be proud of that. You know, it's just a lot of, game's over, we're out of here. No, we're going to stay and we're going to support our guys through and through. So Doug McDermott really enjoying his time out here, out west. And speaking of the West, Mountain West is adding UC Davis as a non-football member in 2026. Sources tell Action Network. This is from Brett McMurphy. UC Davis will give Mountain West 10 basketball members in 2026 and 8 football members. First reported by Ross Dellinger. A little surprising. I wonder if there is a chess move here with the football team. Football team's been playing so well. Why not go to the Mountain West?
So I think this was a Mountain West decision, would be my guess, is that the Mountain West is trying to add programs in the, shall we say, the quote-unquote non-revenue sports. That's how the NCAA classifies it. I don't like doing it under that umbrella because the only revenue sports it's deemed are men's football and men's basketball, which I think is not exactly true because some sports that excel in certain places are better than others. But the Mountain West is kind of making the call that they need to get to about 10 to 12 programs in order to be a viable conference. However, football is kind of becoming its own thing because you already have to have the NIL backing behind it. You have to have the infrastructure, the stadium, all the stuff like that. And that's just, the Mountain West doesn't have the television rights deal in order to go attract schools from other places. I believe they've also added Grand Canyon University in all non-football sports as well. And that makes sense because Grand Canyon doesn't have a football program, I don't believe. So that's just kind of, I assume they're going to go and add more as we go on over the next couple weeks. I'm guessing they're going to want to get back to about 12. But football is just its own unique thing because there's a finite number of football programs that can even afford to put together a Division 1A football team.
I'll say this as far as the non-football sports are concerned. This is going to sound a bit random, but mark my words, Grand Canyon University, mark my words. I'm not going to say they're going to be Gonzaga in a couple years, but that they are in a great location. Campus looks beautiful. The baseball program already doing very well. Keep an eye on Grand Canyon to be one of those teams that all of a sudden it seems like a great location for transfer portal kids that just want to go to a beautiful school that maybe you didn't go there at first because you were at Ohio State, wherever it is. Keep an eye on that. But shout out to the Mountain West and shout out to UC Davis for getting added to a bigger conference. That's great.
The other team I forgot is UTEP also. UTEP is going from Conference USA to the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is a really big deal for UC Davis. I mean, moving to what is essentially Division 1A. And I know the Mountain West is kind of in a weird place because the San Diego States and Fresno States and Boise States are all going to the Pac-12. So it's kind of in a weird limbo state right now. But I don't want to undersell that. Like, this is a really big deal, having UC Davis be the one big West program that's kind of been picked to join the Mountain West is a pretty big deal, considering the Mountain West now stretches from California, or technically Hawaii, all the way to Texas. And UC Davis happened to be the California school that they picked to kind of add to the group out of all the potential California schools they could have picked from.
Kyle, this is from 2 weeks ago, but we never got around to it. Can you play the Gus Johnson call? Just because we're talking about college and everybody knows that I love Gus Johnson. Listen into this, everyone. This was during Michigan, Ohio State. Is this a good call or not? I had to play it before it's too old and it's just not relevant. But since we're having a little bit of fun with college, Kyle, just please play it.
Warren looking, and it's intercepted at the goal line. Unbelievable. Wow, Jack Sawyer, the hero, Captain Jack.
He got destroyed for that.
That's Gus Johnson, man.
But is it? People are saying it's becoming almost a caricature.
Well, it is, but that's good. I would argue. God, how many of these broadcasters are just so starched and just like generic voices that you can just intercept? The fact that there's actual personality behind these calls and that Gus Johnson has made it his thing, like the random Captain Jack that he just throws in there for no reason.
Can you put just one more time, and then I promise we'll get back to Kings.
And it's intercepted at the goal line. Unbelievable.
Ran out of breath.
Wow, Jack Sawyer, the hero.
Now he's got his breath.
Captain Jack.
My favorite is at the goal line.
Well, yeah, because that part's funny because he's clearly running out of breath, but he can't stop to breathe. So he's just like pittering it out. Like right around at the, or like right before he says Captain Jack, you can tell is when he gets his voice back. The hero.
Right.
The hero.
Oh, man. Great stuff.
Unbelievable. Wow, Jack Sawyer, the hero. Captain Jack.
Great
It's
stuff.
So good. It's
Great
so good.
stuff.
I'm glad we were able to weave that.
I
in.
had to. Now we can remove it from our rundown.
But yeah, UC Davis, big deal. This is a big deal for UC Davis.
Yeah, good on them. Aggie up. That's what they say, right? Aggie up. And UC Davis headed to the Mountain West besides football, but I'm sure football and how well they've been playing, I'm sure something is on the horizon for them. Is Bill Belichick to North Carolina on the horizon? Well, only if they meet his demands. Kyle, you had this story for me. What's going on?
Okay, this is crazy what is happening right now with Bill Belichick. So, according to, I just want to make sure I have this right, Ollie Connolly, who works for The Guardian, Bill Belichick's negotiations with North Carolina, for those who don't know, we mentioned it briefly, Bill Belichick interviewed for the University of North Carolina job, did a second interview. We talked about, I don't think he's going to get any of the NFL jobs, or at the very least with say over personnel, which is kind of what he wants.
Right.
I don't think any team is going to hire Bill Belichick coming up at 72 years old and wanting the level of control that he wants. So now he's kind of dipping his toe into the college ranks. And apparently Bill Belichick has gone to North Carolina with a 400-page manifesto with what he wants or would need from the school in order to accept their position. He's willing to accept it upon the terms of this 400-page manifesto, and in it includes historic levels of financial investment, salary minimums guaranteed player by player, essentially, which is, through NIL funding, although some schools like Notre Dame are starting to actually pay players.
Yes, and I think that's going to keep happening, but go on.
Yes, that's the direction it's headed, is players as employees getting checks from the university, but essentially saying minimum position by position salaries for players, a willingness to hire a general manager type, kind of like what Andrew Luck is doing at Stanford in there. There's some other things in the 400-page manifesto, but the bigger one is hiring his son, Steve Belichick, for those who know the NFL, the one with the crazy hair and looks like crazy faces on the sidelines, hire his son as defensive coordinator and have his son be the coach in waiting when Bill decides to finally retire.
That's probably the craziest one for me.
And North Carolina is seemingly not going to accept the terms, or at least negotiate the terms. But apparently, if North Carolina meets these terms, Bill Belichick's willing to be their head coach.
Wow. Well, why not? I guess Bill is just saying, look, I saw him. He's on. I don't know what possessed me, but I was watching the Manning cast for far too long. I mean, they talked to John Legend for what felt like 30 minutes, man.
I don't think I've watched a Manning cast since 2021.
So Bill Belichick is on there at one point. So Bill Belichick is saying, if you want to get me out of bed, then this is the cost, right? And he's got all the leverage in the world, and North Carolina will probably say, okay, well, we checked in. We're not doing that. And now he can just hand that manifesto to whoever it is.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing that you could say is he has a college manifesto prepared and he can hand it to, I don't know, his son later on if his son ever gets one of these college jobs. But
right.
I just think it's so crazy that we've gotten to this point, because I get Bill Belichick's probably not going to get an NFL head coaching job, but he's 72 years old and worth $150 million. Why would you want to go coach the University of North Carolina? I just... Coaching is in his identity, and I get it at a certain point. I just don't know why he's feeling the need to dive headfirst into potentially a college job, and not a great college job nonetheless.
Well, Whitey Gleason always does a great job, and that's why he's going to join us on the other side for some cross talk coming up next. Down South, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Ready for winter? Forecasters are already predicting record sick days. Don't become a healthcare statistic. Fight sickness with fitness. Create a daily workout and stick to it. Let the Good Feet store help you meet your workout goals. With Good Feet Arch Supports, the pain in your feet, knees, hips, and back become history. And Good Feet Arch Supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Visit goodfeet.com for an appointment or just stop in. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
The holidays are always a great time to get together with family and friends, but nothing beats the thrill of Stockton Honda's deals. During Happy Honda Days, find the perfect ride in person or online. With over 400 new Hondas ready to go, now is the time to buy at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's L1 report.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Okay, I have to tell you. I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers?
eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
15 minutes and 23 seconds with you.
Allen. Why is Roy Al staring back?
It's the YouTube.
Oh, that was what you had during the break.
That's right, Kyle.
That's you and Kyle?
That's right.
Yeah.
Just staring into your soul. We had Dougie McBuckets on earlier.
Oh, I knew you had somebody coming up, and then I missed who it was.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, Whitey, he sat there and he said that the Kings and the Kings fan base, best fan base he's played for, best city. He's played in Chicago. He's played in New York. He's played in Dallas.
San Antonio.
Played in San Antonio.
Indianapolis.
Played in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Woo-hoo!
huge. That's huge.
You don't think he said that about those cities when he was there?
That's what we said. It's when you go to a concert. Man, Sacramento, y'all crazy, man. Loudest city I've been to. My favorite city. I asked him that. That's how we got there. I said, hey, this is what you said. Were you just buttering us up? He said no.
Good. I went to a show once up at the amphitheater. It was a Police reunion tour.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Sting is doing that thing, and he's going, we want to hear you now. This isn't San Francisco. This isn't Los Angeles. This isn't effing San Diego.
Right.
My daughter was living in San Diego at the time, and she's going, what did he have to say that for?
Right. Hey.
This is Sacramento, and we know how to rock.
And he probably did the same thing and just rotated whichever
You
city.
think it was effing Sacramento at some point, huh?
Yeah. We got to find the tape. I'm sure someone makes compilations of guys just saying or artists just saying the same thing. All right, Kyle. You said you had a game for us. I don't really like games, especially with Whitey, because he's probably going to win, but I'll play.
All right. I'm glad that we want to throw it to this game here. So you guys are both baseball people, so I wanted to do this while Whitey was here.
What's the name of this game?
This game is called More or Less.
Woo!
All right. So Mr. Juan Soto signed a contract on Sunday for $765 million with the possibility of going up to over $800 million if he opts out of that contract. So I just want to ask you guys a few questions real quick. Do you think that these sales of professional sports franchises are more or less than Juan Soto's current contract with the New York Mets?
Okay.
That's the game I want to play.
Less.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for example, I want to start off here with in 1997, the New York Knicks, which is the most valuable franchise in the NBA currently right now. In 1997, the New York Knicks were sold by Cablevision. At how much do you think the Knicks were? More or less than Juan Soto's current contract?
Whatever you do, I'll do the opposite.
I'm not going to take the bait. I'm going to say more.
Then I will take less.
In that case, you would be more. You're saying the Knicks are more or less?
More.
And Juan Soto's contract is, in fact, more than the selling price of the New York Knicks in 1997. It was $650 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right.
What a waste of money.
Next one I have. In 2011, the Los Angeles Rams, then the St. Louis Rams, were sold to Stan Kroenke. Was Stan Kroenke's purchase price worth more or less than Juan Soto's $765 million contract?
I'm going to go the purchase price was higher than Soto, so more.
I'm going to say less.
It is, in fact, less.
Wow.
Stan Kroenke bought the St. Louis Rams 13 years ago for $750 million, which is less than the contract Juan Soto.
Noticing a trend here, Alan.
Yeah.
All right, next one I'm going to throw at you guys. The Atlanta Hawks The Atlanta Hawks sold in 2015.
For $45.23.
Was it more or less than Juan Soto?
Less.
I think it was more.
Well, guess what? Whitey is correct.
Yeah!
It was $800 million, which means if Juan Soto opts out of his contract, he will make more than the sale price of the Atlanta Hawks
See how I
just
deked him there?
9 years ago.
Wow.
Got it right. All right, next up, we have the Florida Marlins. When they sold from Jeffrey Loria to Bruce Sherman in 2017, was that more or less than Juan Soto's current contract?
More. Baseball's baseball, man. You got to respect baseball.
Yeah, but
it wasn't your
Marlins
turn. But okay, go ahead. You're saying more? Then I'll go
More.
less.
But guess what? The sale of the Marlins was more than Juan
900.
Soto's contract. It was $1.1 billion.
That's when they had that crazy new stadium, too.
Yes.
Remember when Derek Jeter was there for 2 weeks?
Yep.
I think it was like 5 years, honestly.
Remember when they had Mike Stanton?
Yeah. And now no one does.
Yeah.
All right. In 2014, the NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks sold to Mark Lazary and Wes Edens for, do you think, more or less than Juan Soto's contract?
I think less.
Less.
You would be correct. It was only $500 million.
Yeah, but now what is it now with Giannis?
I think it's valued at about $3 billion, I want to say.
Greek freak.
Yes. All right, I've got two more for you here. Next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh,
in 2011, Shad Khan bought the Jaguars for more or less than what Juan Soto just got from the Mets.
It's the NFL, so
Yeah,
even though it's
yeah.
Jacksonville, I'm going to say more.
More. It's the NFL.
But guess what? You're both wrong.
Oh,
Wow.
The Jacksonville Jaguars were purchased for $760 million, which is less than Juan Soto's
That's pretty close,
$765.
Jacksonville's going to get a stray here. How much longer do you think they have that team?
Well, I would have said that like 12 years ago, so here we are, you know?
I mean, what are we doing? What are we
They're
doing
kind of
with
a
Jacksonville?
dual city team anyway, because they're kind of London's home team, aren't they? No, seriously. Don't they play a ton of home games?
They play two.
Yeah.
Just send them to London.
Yeah.
The NFL wants to. It's too difficult
They could
logistically.
figure it all out. Yes.
They ruined Trevor Lawrence.
I think the Khan guy who owns the team owns the stadium, the Wembley Stadium, that they could theoretically move them to.
Just move them.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL wants to.
They will someday. They're working on it.
They're trying, but Jacksonville's gonna fight them tooth
Do you
and nail.
guys get up at 6 a.m. to watch, like, it's Jacksonville against the Titans
Not
from
on
London?
not on purpose, but if the baby was up.
She's not a baby anymore, Alan. She's a toddler.
Well, at the time she was.
Oh, okay.
I
That was
think
a week ago.
there was one year where I purposely got up early and the game was like Jets Falcons, and I said never again.
No.
The
Yeah.
last time I'm gonna do it. All right, last one. Speaking of the New York Jets, in 2001, Woody Johnson bought the New York Jets for a purchase price of more or less. And again,
More.
it's the New York
More.
Jets. More or less.
No,
than-
he's a deke. Less. It's a deke.
It's Juan Soto's contract, or I'm sorry, the Jets' purchase price is less than Juan
Wow.
Soto's
Who would believe it?
$765 million contract.
There you
The
go.
Jets were bought for $630 million in 2001.
I
which
think
means
you won that game.
Well, this is the only
Thank
type
you,
of game
Kyle.
I can't. I thought it was going to be about
the
sports history.
You won it. Enjoy it. Revel in it.
that's the final score. It doesn't matter. The point was we had fun.
No, it does matter.
Well, were you keeping score? I wasn't. The point was just to have fun.
I think it was 7-5. I
I
won.
kind of was, but Alan did cheat at one point. So
You went
I mean,
first that first time, and so then
we
I
took
went
turns,
first.
and then you doubled up.
No, I didn't double up.
Yeah, you doubled up.
No, you went
Yeah.
first, then I went first. All right.
Anyway,
What's
I'm
the
thinking of filing a protest. We'll see.
what's the nickname for Isaac Jones? We've had some bad ones.
There was one that, thank goodness for Kyle Ledbetter, the whole big rig thing, and it went right over your head. And he's like, you can't call a grown man big rig. So, right? Yeah,
That is
and I was
correct.
like,
We're not
no, I think it's good. And you're like, no, you really can't do that.
No, I didn't say I think it's good. I didn't say I think.
You went into a whole scenario with a movie where you got to talk to Big Rig. I'm going, oh my goodness. I don't.
But that's why I said don't do it.
So, Whitey, who do you think the actor would be playing Big Rig in
I'm
a movie?
not. I'm not going there. I'll have that for you tomorrow on the crossover.
There you go, Whitey. So today was a big day as far as the trades are concerned, just with that Shams article.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings are winning. We had Chris Biederman on, and we talked about what that balance could look like. The Kings are winning, which is huge, but what type of move do you think realistically gets done? No trade generator, no Allen going crazy on the trade generator. What do you actually think is going to happen?
I think they're going to make a couple of lesser moves, kind of like Cody Martin and somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that scares me is I could see the Warriors, the Lakers, Grizzlies, like you guys were discussing, going out and getting Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith and Schroeder or some combination thereof. And that could catapult them the way, all the moves Dallas made last year.
Right.
Catapulted them.
But you don't those guys, it's going to be a bidding war. Those guys are going to cost.
And it's going to be tough for the Kings to compete in a bidding war unless they're willing to part with a lot of future, number one picks and things. And even then, I don't know if they'd be able to pull it off.
Yeah. So
and I don't think they should give up a lot of number one picks. So it's going to be tough.
So but
I love Cam Johnson.
My argument to get a little bit hasty would really come down to how do you think, if as an organization, how do you think De'Aaron feels about the organization? Do you think getting a little hasty would make sure that De'Aaron stays because you are more competitive? If you don't think it's going to make a difference, then no, I probably wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I don't know if you're, if he lets you know one way or the other. He obviously doesn't have to.
Are we good yet? Are we good enough yet, De'Aaron? What about now? We'll just check in every week. Are we good enough, De'Aaron? What about now?
Maybe they're also willing to pivot. If he pivots, we're going to pivot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, 4 hours.
Jerry Reynolds today, and also Kirk Morrison.
Wow, 4 hours. Don't move a muscle.
That's the plan. We'll see.
That's the plan. We will see. I know. By the way, I know we got to get to the other side. Draper's not in here yet. Surprise, surprise. So Draper was going at it with. We got completely derailed by this. I won't even say his name, but the caller and Draper. There was
Javier?
Yes.
Javi from Vacaville?
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday?
Javi took umbrage to something Drape said about the Kings, or he said the Kings, when they're at their best, they're better than Denver. And Javi, who says he's a Kings fan, he said, come on, that's not.
So
he disagreed with that.
He came back on. Then we had callers wanting to answer to Javier. It was crazy. I said, I got to go listen back.
Okay.
I got to go listen back. And I'll do that during a break because I will be listening.
Javi knows my cousin, so
your cousin,
yes,
in real life,
yes.
This just keeps getting back. We
So
got
I'm sure
soap operas
on him.
Yeah, we got soap operas on in the studio. There's soap opera going on in the show. Catch Javi Part 2 coming up next.
Yes,
Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, the Drive Guys, Jay Johnson. Thanks, Jay Johnson, and Kyle Ledbetter doing a great job as always. Thanks to callers, texters, sack chatters, and Chris Biederman. Dougie McBuckets. Until tomorrow, secure the bag like the beam.
Warren looking, and it's intercepted at the goal line. Unbelievable. Wow, Jack Sawyer